Welcome back to the Bourbon and BS podcast, everyone. This is episode 221. We've got a nice rainy day. It's warm. It's going to be 90 this weekend here in Columbus, Ohio. I know it's going to be warm probably most places in the U.S. And elsewhere, but we got Tyler Jones from Espinosa Cigars. Fifth time on the show, I believe.
Fifth time. Yeah. I should get one of those, when you go on Saturday Night Live and you go on for the fifth time. We don't get the jacket and stuff like that.
You have some podcast swag. You just have to buy it.
Oh, yeah.
So you have it already.
I just got mine. Yes. Yeah.
You got some of the 3/4 sleeves like Nate and I have on, right?
Every color.
All 4 colors.
Yep.
Yeah, Tyler, welcome back. We got some great cigars. I will say there was some confusion on the picture that I posted. So for those that are tuning in tonight, this is a special guest, Tyler Jones.
Oh, I'm in.
So if you read the caption, it makes more sense. But Nate Hale is obviously with me. I'm Steve Crane, and we have some sponsors here. So patreon.com, which Tyler's been a part of. Patreon.com/Bourbon and BS podcast. That's the way you guys can do a monthly contribution. You also get a special code to buy some of the apparel on buyjack.com/Bourbon and BS. If I can find that. Boop, right there. That's for the shirts like what we have on BS stuff. We've got some podcast shirts as well. But yeah, check that out for sure. And patreon.com/Bourbon and BS podcast. Or you can do Venmo if you want to buy us a bottle at Bourbon and BS. And hopefully you guys, if you do that, let us know what bottle you guys want us to get. Also, Tinderbox at Easton. Normally we'll have the featured cigar from Tinderbox at Easton in Columbus, Ohio. They do carry the Knuckle sandwich, Habano and Maduro, which Tyler brought with him tonight.
Both Robusto and Toro.
That's right. Along with other Espinosa products. So check out Tinderbox at Easton. Thank you very much for the support there. Columbus, Ohio, they do also ship. So if your local brick and mortar does not carry the featured cigar this week or other weeks, definitely give us a contact on the podcast, or you can call Tinderbox at Easton directly in Columbus, Ohio. Also, Altadis USA, you see behind us, Monte Cristo, Romeo Julieta, H. Upman, A. Jerome. Normally we'll have a second cigar of the night from Altadis. And I just heard from Josh Bentley, so hopefully we'll see him again soon on the podcast, possibly with another person from Altadis.
Nice.
We'll see if that works out, hopefully soon. But also BS Cigar Company, the gold and silver are available. The silver actually made by Espinosa.
Yes, sir.
So that is a bit peppery. Every time that Erik smokes it, he's like, "Oh, bro, I forgot how."
Especially that Rubido.
Yeah,
it's got some oomph to it, that's for sure.
Yeah, it surprises him every time.
Great cigar, though.
So yeah, fantastic. Gold from Placencia. Check them out. Tonight, though, we are drinking something. We don't know if it's going to go well with these 2 cigars. So the first one we're going to be smoking is the Knuckle Sandwich Habano.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to follow that up in part 2 with the Maduro. So a little bit, you'd say fuller?
Yeah, definitely more on the fuller side.
Yeah. But we're drinking Larceny Barrel Proof.
Yes, sir.
Tyler, remind us, and for those that weren't a part of that conversation, why does Larceny and this garage have a special meaning to you?
Well, so like
just to give everyone a little bit of background of
you
and this
a little inside baseball. This is directed by Ken Burns.
Yeah, that's right.
But so during like the start of COVID, when we really weren't leaving our houses very much and stuff like that, and we had some late night Zoom sessions, and
we did. Keeping the community alive.
I couldn't make it up here when I was living in Dayton at the time,
right?
And then because I was fairly regular up here and stuff like that, and we ended up having a pretty late night, and I was enjoying some Larceny, and
you were
maybe a little too much.
All of it, really, all of it.
Pretty close. So it was a great night. We had a lot of fun, and so Larceny has a special place in my heart. So especially this offering from Larceny, the Barrel Proof.
Yeah,
this has got quite hard to find. Definitely since it got Whiskey of the Year, that didn't help. And then it, what publication gave it that? Was that Whiskey Advocate? I think.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Whiskey Advocate gave it Whiskey of the Year, Bourbon of the Year, whatever the hell they call it anymore.
I think they do different classifications.
Yeah, I think it ended up being like Whiskey of the Year because I think they had like some Dickel product on there, and I don't think that's technically a bourbon. But yeah, anyways,
International Wine and Spirits, it got 98 points.
Hey,
this bottle here,
it's a phenomenal bottle, and so that made it a little bit harder to get. So I wanted to bring something a little bit special that I found actually in the state of Ohio. There's no way I'm going to find this in Indiana at a reasonable price because they're not controlled by the state. So In Ohio, very reasonable price. I think it was like $60, and I think it's worth every penny of that.
$59.99.
Yeah, it's amazing for that price point. So, yeah, I definitely want to bring that in, especially since Larceny has a little inside joke with all this.
Yeah, it's very fitting having you in the garage.
Yeah, when you told me Tyler was bringing Larceny of any kind, let alone the barrel proof, I was like, really? Because I remember that incident 2 years ago.
Does he still drink that? Yeah.
Does he still drink?
Well, yeah.
Is he able to still drink it? Yeah.
Because
luckily I can.
You literally polished off the bottle, just drinking it straight out of the bottle.
Listen, let's not stay on this subject.
And then, I feel like there's a little
next
judgment happening, and I feel like you're coming down on our special guest here.
No,
Right,
but
exactly.
then the next day, you're like, I'm never drinking Larceny again.
Well,
but the next,
technically, this is Larceny Barrel Proof.
But the next time we did one of those Facebook hangouts, I went out and got the 1.75 liter of Larceny and had it on there just for Tyler. Like, hey, look at it.
Perfect.
Back to the cigars, fellas.
No, all right. So we normally start with that, and then we highlight this at the end of the bourbon.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the Larceny here.
So Larceny, the first batch that I ever tried, which was the first batch that I ever made of it, it was at like 122 proof, somewhere around there. And it was, when I ever had it the first time, I'm like, this is it. I like high proof stuff. So I was very, very much impressed with this. Then it got whiskey of the year, of course. And then they came out there like their second batch. And I was like, I looked at the label, or I didn't even look at the label. I took a sip of it and I'm like, how did they really just mess this up?
It was different.
It tasted different. And I looked at the bottle and it was at 115 proof. And I'm like, you can't just knock 10 proof off this and expect it to taste the same thing.
But it is a barrel proof.
Right.
So
Yeah. I mean, if it came out of the barrel at 115, I guess who am I to say that they were wrong?
Well,
but at the same time, I'm like, that wasn't what I remembered. And then when I saw the third batch come out, which was this, I was like, oh, hell yeah, it's back at 122. Let me buy that. Because I wouldn't have bought it if I saw it on the shelf at 115. I was like, no.
Well, and also you got to remember, so it's barrel proof, not single barrel. So they may have dumped 10 barrels in together, and 115 is what it came out at as that collective mix.
I expect a little bit more consistency from someone like Heaven Hill, though. Especially
if they have a product that they like, because they can do a little bit on this. This is batch number C921. So I assume you don't know what the first and second was coded at.
Idea.
I do.
Go ahead, Nate.
So C means it's the third batch. 921 means it came out September of 21.
That's right. Who else did that? We had that on the podcast before.
Yeah, we have. It may have been another Heaven Hill product.
Could be.
But yeah, that's what that coding means. So third batch, 9th month, 21st year. Yeah.
There you go. So there you go. C is the third batch, 122.6. What else do we know? John E. Fitzgerald. Why is he on here? Does anyone know?
I think there's a story on the back of the label there,
Turns
Steve.
out there is. John E. Fitzgerald was a treasury agent who at the time was the only person legally allowed to carry keys to the rick houses. He often gave in to temptation and freely took from the best bourbon barrels, uncut at barrel proof.
My man.
Goddamn role model. Today, you can taste this liquid in much the same way as John E. Fitzgerald. Larceny Barrel Proof small batch bourbon is made from a mingling of 6 to 8 year old bourbon that is bottled, uncut, and without chill filtration. This bourbon honors both the superb taste of this lawless treasury agent and the wheated bourbon legacy of the old Fitzgerald brand. And on there is a key next to Larceny.
Beautiful. Yeah, a little keyhole right there underneath the
and the keyhole. Yeah.
It's a nice
lawless.
And Larceny, because technically what he was doing was stealing.
Theoretically speaking,
But the government never steals.
Literally.
The government never steals.
Of course not.
All right.
Man, we got some great people tuning in. Matt Stiles, Corey Davis, Tyler Jeffrey. Let's go. Let's get these people keep rolling in.
I'm trying to share while we're doing this. So, besides you enjoying Larceny to its fullest the one night that brought this upon the podcast here, this is a Heaven Hill product?
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yeah.
Nate, do you know anything more about this product?
I know something about the mash bill.
That would be
relevant.
Quite relevant.
So
actually.
For people who aren't familiar, this is a wheated bourbon. So there's no rye in the mash bill. So 68% corn, 20% wheat, and 12% malted barley.
Okay.
And like I said, it's a mix of 6 to 8 year barrels.
Mm-hmm. Do that mash bill one more time.
68 corn.
Yep.
20% wheat, 12% malted barley.
Okay. Nice. So what do we think of this before we get into the main attraction, which would be the knuckle sandwich?
I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah.
If I don't say so myself.
Yeah, go ahead. Get after it.
No, this is like a really good expression. It's got that nice sweetness to it. It's got a little oomph to it. So, it's 122, but it's nothing like overly aggressive. I don't feel it like kicking the shit out of my throat or anything like that.
You can't curse on the show.
Is that changed from the past?
Shut your fucking mouth. Go ahead.
But no, I've thoroughly enjoyed a lot of the stuff, and it's just got real good balance to it. It's nothing that's over the top. It's clean on the finish, and it lingers very nice with the cigar. Actually,
Yeah, I think the heat or spice that's on that finish, it kind of lingers for quite a bit. Like you get a nice little tongue tingle for a while.
Get those dark cherry notes too.
You might be allergic to something. A little swelling in the throat.
I'm in trouble.
That's what microdosing's for. Just drink a little bit at a time, then your body will be.
But no, it's got this nice thick sweetness, kind of like a molasses type of sweetness to it. But it's also got like some fruit and nut characteristics as well. So I mean, there's a lot of depth of flavor to it.
Is it the heat, or are you getting some sort of like like that cinnamon or like the spice to it? Either of you
on the finish?
No, right.
I don't really.
You got tongue tingle. I'm saying like it's more of like a cinnamon or
that's on the finish. I don't get much spice when it's just sitting on the palate.
Right.
Most of the spice notes like that cinnamon or
back of the throat.
Initially, but
as you say finish.
Yeah, like after it's gone down the hatch.
Okay.
Like that spice kind of lingers on the palate a little bit.
Tongue tingle's a new phrase on the podcast, I believe.
I don't think I heard that one.
221 episodes, no one's ever said tongue tingle?
Correct.
Well, we've said it 3 times now, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a new one.
Beetlejuice.
There's a t-shirt. I'm gonna make your tongue tingle. What? What?
What are we talking about? Wait,
I don't even know anymore. And it's early.
That's what happens when I come on.
It is
start going off.
True enough.
Yeah. Steven, are you enjoying it?
I am. I'm enjoying it. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to share it to all the.
I saw you watching a Seth MacFarlane video for a second.
It's just on there. All right. Anyways,
funny guy.
I don't
Real funny guy.
He is funny. I think he's going to do well.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's doing pretty good right now.
I do like this. You say sweeter a little bit, right? You said fruit, Nate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely got a nice sweetness to it. You say molasses. A little bit of that. It's not as much.
I was more like a dark cherry guy.
Yeah, it's not as much of the a lot of times some of the resounding notes would be like that vanilla or the oakiness. You know what I mean? I think it might be partly because it is the weeded mash bill. Bless you. However, I just really, it's a nice, like warm, balanced, enjoyable drink.
It's really shocking that it's 122.
Yeah.
Like to me, do you feel the same way?
No, because I drink enough stuff that is barrel proof that this being 122, like that doesn't surprise me at all. Being in that like 120, 125 range. No, this hits like something I would expect most barrel proofs to hit.
Yeah. But it's in your face, and that's why I tend to really like barrel proof stuff. I mean, our good friend of ours, Jake Sanders, can attest to this. Me and him drank quite a few barrels, enjoy a lot of barrel strength stuff. And it's definitely something that, I think it almost speaks to like the company I work for, because, we're kind of known for the guys from Nicaragua that do a lot of like really, medium plus to full body very well. And I think that I usually like that with my cigars as well.
Right.
So I want a strong coffee or I want a strong bourbon or whatever. It ends up, hitting my palate just that right way. And I think this is like very good.
The reason I said more of a molasses type sweetness, so it's got this very thick texture up front to it. And there's a sweetness there, but it's not an overly sweet, like a corn heavy sweetness or that vanilla. It's a little bit more subdued. It's not as rich as say a caramel type. It's not that sweet. There's a thickness, but a little bit of sweetness, not as much as a caramel.
There's different brands of caramel, man. I mean,
you talk about Werther's.
That's
There we go.
more butterscotch.
It's more butter. They have some caramel stuff. Do they?
Yeah, Nate's a big Werther's guy. We've talked about this plenty of times on the show.
Werther's a caramel company.
They do caramels and butterscotch.
There we go.
But Werther's original is clearly
Werther's originals
butterscotch.
is the
Oh, of
butterscotch.
course. Well, that's the staple. That's in everybody's grandparents,
Pocket.
Yeah, pocket jar. That's right next to their chair that their grandfather never leaves. Type deal.
It's a nice savory treat.
Nice savory treat, tasty treat. Just like the gentleman. I told you that the other day.
That's 2 podcasts in a row that we've brought up Werther's.
Let's keep the streak going. But
The gentleman, the movie. Let's just make that clear.
gentleman, not the gentleman with the Werther's in his pocket.
yeah, dude. The movie.
Yeah.
Shout out, Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie doing Guy Ritchie things. Have you had this before, either of you guys? This is, I think, my first time having the barrel proof.
I mean, I had the first batch, and then this is my first time having the third batch because you can't find it forever after that. Yeah, so this is like my second time having it, probably.
Nice.
But no, I think it's very consistent with the first batch I had. I don't see much. I'm not tasting that much of a difference between the two. I mean, I think it's Rockstar on the nose, on the palate. I think it just does. I think it's tremendous.
It's not the first time I've had the barrel proof.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if the first one I had
Was the 115 or the 122?
I can't remember if it was this batch or any of the other 2 batches.
How long ago was it?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, too many bourbons in between.
Exactly.
Right.
I don't.
So that means it was a while back.
I don't-
So you probably had batch 1, maybe.
The only diary of bourbon I keep is for the podcast.
And this is
And this is new. This is new.
This is
So
not-
it's a
We've
learning
not-
experience for all of us. Beautiful. Isn't that great how that works out?
It is. And I love the fact you brought it.
After 221 episodes, it's nice to get a bourbon we haven't done before.
How many times have you guys done the same one more than once?
Not often.
Not often.
I can't
And if it was,
imagine,
it was like
like-
from the first, probably 30 or so episodes.
Yeah.
When we
Like back
weren't-
in the day.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
changed the format since then. We were not rating things at the end of part 1. We didn't really have the clean divide. We were recording differently.
Yeah.
We did some.
And you may have done duplicates of maybe like a Larceny, but it may have been like a store pick from somewhere.
I couldn't pull it up on that.
Well, no, I was
Well,
just using Larceny as an example. Like it was just.
I know in the
whatever.
spreadsheet I have, there's been a few bottles that we have repeated, but I don't think we've repeated any since we started doing the ratings back in March of 2020.
Yeah. Tim Dodge says 122 proof. Dang, surprised it's not hot going down. It's warm. It's just not going to be like,
It's not overly
it
aggressive.
doesn't have a big burn on it. It's more of a warmer heat. It's not just this
And it
again, tongue tingle, but not, what did he say? I don't know if I want to read this, if I can still pull it up here. Oh, can't pull it up. Sorry. Oh, no, there it is. Yeah, I don't want to read it. Tim, we're not doing that to the rocks glass.
This guy.
I'm just saying.
the heat that you do get from it kind of stays either in the mouth, the throat. It doesn't really go down the chest at all.
Mhm.
Like it all stays up top.
Right.
Trying to see if there's any YouTube, because I see some more viewers out there. YouTube comments, just viewers out there. If you guys are watching on YouTube right now, just bear with us if we don't see your comments on there, because we're monitoring the other one. So let's switch gears here a little bit to the cigar. So we're smoking the Knuckle sandwich.
What do you want to know?
The Habano.
Yes.
So not trying to clickbait anyone, but when I posted your picture today, I thought it was a relevant picture, that it was you with Guy Fieri. Guy Fieri. Still feel weird saying it like that. Anyways, Guy Fieri. And it was at the launch, the official launch, right? The big party.
That was at Lazona Palooza 2022. Yes, down in Miami.
Just a month or so ago.
March.
Yeah.
A couple months now.
Yeah, it was the end of March, right? It was after the 10 event.
Yeah, it was after the 10 event. Actually, I think it was like the weekend, maybe 2 weekends after.
Yeah, I think it was 2 weekends after. So so this is the Knuckle sandwich. When I posted the picture of you, which was from your Facebook page, it was you and Guy, and I said, hey, we've got Tyler Jones with the Knuckle sandwich from Erik Espinosa and Guy Fieri.
Mm-hmm.
And I started getting text messages like, holy shit, you have Guy on the podcast tonight. And I'm like, no, we don't. It'd be great.
Right. Yeah.
I'm disappointed that you didn't get him.
There's only so much
I
American.
mean, like the first time you were on, I had to get Erik Espinosa on the podcast. Like you couldn't even pull getting your own boss on.
Well, I thought I was the star of the show at that point.
Turns out,
not so much. But no, so yeah, that was
that.
You lost your star status
right
the last time when we went like 4 hours
with Hector. Oh yeah, that was great. That was a great time.
That was something. Is what it was.
That was something. No, but yeah, that picture was taken down at Lazona-Palooza, which is a big event we throw usually every year. Of course with COVID and stuff like that. Usually held in November, but we pushed it back from November of last year to March this year because of COVID spikes and stuff like that in Miami and that area with restrictions. And we wanted to do it right and make sure everybody was okay, during the whole event. But we had a little over 200 people, I want to say, down there. And
this time around,
it was a great time. I mean, the first 2 days we were in our warehouse, having a big herf for the most part. And then the last day was the closing day party that we did all knuckle sandwich, because it was probably about almost a month that the cigar was out and stuff like that. But it was really hitting retailers and our guys, our loyal followers who attended Lazona-Palooza, the guys who post the most on social media and et cetera, and stay, connected within the Espinosa community. We did that whole last day, just all knuckle sandwich. And luckily we were blessed with about 2 hours of Guy Fieri's time. And he literally stood there, talked to everybody, took pictures with people, had conversations. I got to meet him, spent about 20 minutes with the guy and just talking to him about, the project. And
he's a big cigar guy,
a huge cigar guy. Like this guy, it was hilarious because I knew he liked cigars because I heard Erik tell me over the years, Guy Fieri, he smokes our Orange L'Orange and 601 Blue and stuff like that. And I'm like, cool, that's awesome. I mean, I'm a big Guy Fieri fan. I grew up watching Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives and Food Network. In my opinion, that dude made Food Network what it is today.
He definitely blew it up.
Yeah, he helped.
In fact, I feel like he's almost borderline not to like.
He is the Food Network almost. Right?
Well,
he's like the face.
It's like he's more celebrity than he is like restaurateur and stuff like that. Like I feel like he's transitioned. I know that he's got all these businesses.
He's got like 112 restaurants in the United States.
He's invested in a bunch. I mean, it's just like he's more of like a celebrity associated with the Food Network, with just celebrity endorsement food and having his own, like, I mean, he's almost like a character. Like he's a celebrity more than he is just a guy that owns a restaurant.
Right. Of course. Yeah. I mean, he's helped build that reputation for himself. And I mean, the guy's a superstar known around the world. So having him connected with us in this project's been huge for us, because the guys just grasp on everybody is just so far, and he connects with so many different people because it's all around food and something that most people, I'd say 90% of people,
he's got an energy about him too. You know what I mean? Obviously,
the guy's aura. You just walk around the guy, and he's a lot like Erik Espinosa in that way. We've seen that. We all, whenever you're around Erik or someone like Guy, you just have like they got like this rock star personality to him and this aura about him that just makes you want to hang out with the dude.
Does he say bro as much as Erik does?
No, he does
I don't know
not.
if it's possible, first of all.
First off, I think Rick Rodriguez might be the one.
Ricky,
shout out
Rick. Yeah. Congrats to Rick on his new venture. Hope to get him on the podcast again.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good luck to Rick on that. I look forward to trying
West
his
Tampa
stuff.
Cigars.
Yeah.
Tim Dodge said he went to hit Guy's place in Vegas, had a $45 Bloody Mary, and it was awesome.
I'm sure.
For $45,
for $45, that's actually a pretty good price in Vegas for a Bloody Mary.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
a good price actually.
Down there. Get a milkshake at McDonald's for $42.
Right. You go to In-N-Out and you drop $100 on a burger, fries, and a shake.
Exactly.
But it's just like the 20 minutes I got to spend with the dude. It was just awesome. And me and him, we were having some tequila because he's part owner of a tequila brand with Sammy Hagar. Called Santo.
Yeah.
And it's really good tequila. I'm a big tequila guy as well as a bourbon guy. So actually lately I've been venturing off into my tequilas a little bit more lately, but we were drinking some tequila together and we had a great time, and he was just such a great person to meet, and it really made me want to go out and get the brand going even more, which I guess is kind of the idea, right?
Yep.
But we had a great time, and he's even done a couple of videos for some events I've done where we had Knuckle Sandwich being featured and stuff like that for my guys up in Ingalls, Indiana. Final third with Rob and Lisa over there. He did a little shout out video that they posted, and it was awesome. And it took a text from Jack, and like 10 minutes later he sent the video. It was awesome.
Tried that for the Smoking 10 event, didn't get a chance to pull it off, but next time we'll get more than 250 people.
Right.
Yes. Whatever.
Well, in this cigar, if I remember correctly,
maybe next time.
This cigar was featured at the 10 event, so
It
people
was.
who
That's-
are watching that
Well,
attended got to try the Maduro.
The official launch though was before the 10 event, I believe, because the 10
Yeah.
was March 19th.
So we launched this at the Food and Wine Festival in Miami with Guy and Erik being there and stuff like that. And then shortly after that weekend, Abe Dababna from Smoke Inn, he does his big multi-vendor event every year, the Great Smoke.
Yep.
And
February, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this year it got pushed back, or no, it was end of February, I think, when they did it. And Guy was there. He did an interview with Michael Herklotz and Erik both on the stage. You know, Michael's a great guy in our
Michael's
industry.
been on the show before as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And that was a great video. I blasted that all over, social media and stuff like that because I'm like, people need to hear this straight from Guy and stuff.
Absolutely.
Like that. And he had his story and stuff like that. And then they did like a little pre-sale event for it where we sold, I think the number was like almost or slightly over 300 boxes.
Wow.
Of Knuckle sandwich at that event.
And
that's like, I mean, for a family-owned company like us, that's awesome, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge, a huge boost, and it showed the excitement about the brand and the originality and the actual like interest that people had in us working with someone like Guy.
Well, one of the things that was tough since that cigar officially launched before the 10 event, and we had the cigars in the shop,
right?
But they weren't for sale. We were holding them for the 10 event.
Yeah.
But we had so many people coming up asking if we had that cigar.
Yeah.
And we're like, not yet.
Yes.
Like, we do, but you got to come to the 10 event.
And they bought a ticket.
And they ended up buying a ticket and
and then they got to try the Maduro and the Robusto form, and I hope everybody enjoyed it as much as we have. And I know like this project has been huge for us. I mean the number was big that we ended up pre-selling, and I'll just say this: like I didn't smoke it at the time. None of the retailers smoked it at the time before anyone ordered it, and the pre-orders were ridiculously crazy. I was like, "Oh my god!" I added everything up. I'm like, "Wow, this is awesome!" And no one's even smoked it, and I'm like, "This is like this is crazy." And thank God the cigars came through as fantastic, which I wouldn't have expected them not to be. We're too small of a company to mess around and do stuff like that. So.
You are, but I mean, again, you're trying to get a one of those types of two blends really that you're hoping to kind of have a universal appeal, right? I mean, you're not gonna.
We want to make them home runs,
right? You're not doing something like, and Erik has said before when Erik Espinosa, when he was on the show, when he's been in the area, a lot of events, he's pretty blatantly honest that the fact that he makes stuff for himself, but mainly he makes stuff for consumers because whatever he likes, it may not always translate to all the consumers, and he's in it for the business. I mean, he's very straightforward about that. He's like, he wants to make good cigars, but he wants to make cigars that people like. It does, I mean, there's some blenders out there that they make stuff that they like, and then they may not have a whole lot of hitters on there, on the roster. With this, I mean, you want to do that because of the effort. I know that there's a bit of an agreement that Guy is going to be pushing this. He has a bit, to not only the cigar community, but
he's been doing a great job doing
I mean, it's on his social media as well, so I think it's fantastic. But it is really the fact that you want to have something when you do a project like this, you want it to be something that once people smoke it,
they want to go
like
back
his tequila,
and buy more.
Yeah, I mean, because that's kind of, I think, where we're going to go in part two. For those that haven't heard the podcast before, that are just tuning in now, we have a topic in part two that's going to come later. And Tyler brought on the topic of kicking stigmas, which I think when you have a celebrity endorsed product, that's what we're going to talk about, leading into other things. But it is tough. I mean, again, you see that on something like this, and Knuckle Sandwich, once it hits, it's like, all right, this is a buck or two more than most of Espinosa's projects.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a regular release, he has more expensive.
Yeah, like Las Seis Provincias is usually a kind of a higher price point cigar, usually at the $16, $17 range. And this year we did it was like $22 this year, but but to have a regular release with a celebrity endorsement on there, you want to make sure that people aren't necessarily taken aback off the rip as saying, all right, well, it's $2-3 more because it's a celebrity endorsement. We had to make it worth the extra $2-3. And honestly, it could have been any price point probably that we wanted. It's just what the ingredients we used. It's what it came out to. Yeah, and it's what it came out. It's not like we were like, we got to make a $16 cigar or something like that. No, we were making a blend that wanted to be that Guy accepted and he was like in love with, which we have. And it just, that was the price point it ended up coming out. And honestly, from a rep side of this, I have not heard one peep about anyone saying it's overpriced, which is a blessing.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I tell people to be completely honest with me. And most of the time, people are brutally honest at times, which I appreciate, and I respect that because they pay their hard-earned money. If you pay your hard-earned money on one of our products, and I'm there, feel free to tell me exactly what you think because you have every right to do so. But I haven't heard one person say, you know what, if it was, if it was a couple dollars cheaper, that would be perfect. I haven't heard
anything.
That. Right, that's anything. I wish
it's
I wish this didn't cost $60 either.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm not going to flash my eye at it.
All right,
if it's 120, I'm like, come on.
Take a step back here. We're smoking the Habano blend of the Knuckle sandwich. This is a product that was a collaboration as far as the effort of Erik Espinosa and Guy Fieri. We did have a question about the involvement of Guy, so we'll get to that momentarily. This is coming out of is it San Lotano factory or is it just one of AJ's factories?
This is the San Lotano factory in Ocotal, which is like it's like another Luzona.
Okay.
More cigars out of that. How do I word this? They make more Espinosa in that factory than any other brand.
Okay.
So it's practically a Luzona 2.0 to a certain degree.
AJ Fernandez has several factories.
AJ's factory, yes.
Yeah, several factories. I'm putting a package together for Tim, one of our customers.
My man, attaboy.
Sending him. So we do that as well. Like I said, the Tinderbox at Easton does ship out packages about once a week. So he's got a package and he's moved up north a little bit full time. And so he's
up north a bit. Is that in the state up north that we don't talk about?
Vermilion. So it's Vermilion. Okay. So Vermilion, Ohio, near Lake Erie. He's got a nice home that he and his wife moved into full time, sending out packages once every other week, about or whatever. He just messaged me. He's like, throw some knuckle sandwiches in there. I'm intrigued.
Awesome.
So
thank you.
Thank you for listening, Tim. We'll get some out to you. Yeah. Won't be disappointed for sure. But so that's coming out of what do we have a blend? I mean, what is disclosed to getting to the little bit of the nuts and bolts before we get into
Erik's one of those guys who keeps his chips close and he doesn't let out a lot of his blend secrets and stuff like that. But I can tell you it's Nicaragua for binder and filler, and it's got an Ecuador Habano wrapper. A gorgeous Ecuador Habano wrapper, actually.
It is got a nice sheen to it.
Got a beautiful oiliness to it. It's got a real nice smoothness to it, and it's the blend's just nice medium plus at the most. Nice little black pepper note towards the end, which is a little bit different for Habanos, I feel like, especially ones that are from Ecuador. If you have a Nicaraguan Habano, they bite a little bit more, but the fact it's an Ecuador Habano with a little bit of black pepper on the back of the palate, it's really nice. It's a real nice medium plus.
Pepper in the retro too.
Yeah, there's a little bit of pepper on the retro.
Don't do all of it in the retro. Only if you push it out through the nose.
Sean started tearing up when he first retrohaled.
Don't try to talk on the mic after you do it too.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm totally fine. And then again, I smoke this stuff on a daily basis. So my nostrils are used to a little bit of pepper we have in our
stuff. You mentioned that we talked about a little bit that this is a little bit more higher price point than a lot of the Espinosa stuff.
Nothing crazy though, but a
couple bucks.
Yeah.
And you said that was because of the tobaccos being used. What makes the tobaccos in the cigar different than the rest of what Erik puts out?
I can't
more age, fermentation, like
it's
rarity.
It's just the specific tobaccos we chose. I wish Hector was here to tell us, specifically why. I'm sure he wouldn't, because why would Erik always says, and Hector agrees, the Colonel never divulges his 11 herbs and spices or whatever that saying is. I think I got it right? 11?
23 flavors in a Dr. Pepper,
yeah, 23 flavors in a Dr. Pepper. I never understood that. I got one flavor and it tasted good.
It tastes like Dr. Pepper.
Tastes like Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I like Mr. Pibb though. Mr. Pibb's a nice.
With that. All right. The one thing I will say that's nice about working with Hector and Erik is we worked with him on the BS Silver, not to necessarily full shameless plug, but Brian and I had a great experience with those guys because Erik in the past had been burned through his previous experiences of trying to have he was with someone else as far as doing the EO brands, if you remember that back in the day.
Yeah.
And when they parted ways altogether, well, he had to basically dissect all of the 601 blends, had to do all that stuff because he got the names and the marketing or the brand likeness of it, but he didn't have the blends. And so when we worked with him on the BS Silver, it was really cool because he's like, again, full disclosure.
Yeah.
It's like he's not showing us like the age, but it's like, this is the wrapper, this is the binders, this is the, it's like we're going to like the Seiko and region and everything like that. So it's like, even if we ever parted ways, we could take that list to someone else, say, this is what we're doing with them.
And it would not taste the same.
It wouldn't taste the same, but at least you would have a starting point.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
And
You have a
so
starting
I can
point and you can
appreciate the
figure it
fact
out.
that he's a little vague on some of these projects with the consumer. You know what I mean? Because again, smoke it and give your own opinion of it.
Yeah.
Do you like it? Do you not? And I think that's a lot of times that's where he comes from.
Right.
He wants you to enjoy the cigar, not just get
don't just dissect it like
don't read a
leaf for
blog,
leaf.
don't read a review, don't read like the description of it. You're like, I'm not gonna like that because of this.
Right.
Like, hang on a second, smoke it first,
Yeah.
and then maybe
Well,
you have some
buy it,
drinks
smoke
with
it,
Hector. Maybe he'll
and then
tell
figure
you.
it out whether it's for you or not.
Yeah.
That's all any manufacturer can ask for. All right, that's all I could ask for is just to give our product a shot.
Well, Stephen Bryan,
and then if you don't like it, that's fine. That's why there's so many different cigar brands out there. But luckily we've got the
Stephen Bryan had to go through that process for the BS Gold when it changed manufacturers.
Correct,
Here was a top seller at the Tinderbox at Easton, and now we're using a different manufacturer for it. We got to try and get something that was close, but we don't know exactly what all was in it. So like, here's what the cigar tasted like and all this stuff. And there's a lot of back and forth to try and hit.
There is. And that's what Erik went through. So I can appreciate that to a point as well, especially doing something like this with a celebrity name behind it. You don't want to just give out all the information because you don't want people to necessarily try to copy you.
Oh, we got Junior watching. Erik Espinosa
he was
Jr.
very complimentary of you.
John Belly, shout out. What's up?
But
One of our Lizona Palooza guys.
That's right. So here's a question from Ray, and we had someone say, "Hey, I mentioned it earlier, but how involved was Guy in the makeup of the cigar, or was it like the majority of his? Not sure what that word is. Establishment. I don't think that's right. In that,
let me answer the first part of that.
He just added his name to. All right, so. Or was the majority of it established in that he just added his name to an already existing product?
Right. So at the end of the day, we're 50-50 partners with Guy on this project, and
Okay.
we needed his blessing on the blend. I mean, Guy's a very involved dude when it comes to putting his name on stuff and being a part of the projects, and we needed his blessing on the blends, and we worked with him on that stuff. So it's not just something that we just told him, hey, this is what we got. We're gonna put your name on whatever. He was very hands-on. He calls it. He was going through the school of Espinosa, and he was getting taught by the Godfather himself, Erik Espinosa.
Is he down in the factory? Is he getting samples sent to him?
Listen, we did this project took like almost 2 years to do.
That's what we hear. Yeah,
and we if COVID wasn't a thing, we probably could have knocked it out in less than a year. Because of the fact that it takes time, and you got to see how the cigars age and everything. And we really could have made it a lot faster of a process if we were able to take Guy down to Nicaragua, him, Erik, Hector, anyone else, and everybody else to go down there and really smoke the product and be like, all right, this is what we need. Like, we could have kept this going really quick, but we had stuff shipped to the States. And that was even an advantage to us because we can actually, based on the relationship we have with the AJ factory down there, we could tell them what exactly Hector can call down, tell them what we want, how we want it. And they ship it up here, and we could taste what it actually tastes like in the United States versus us being down there and smoking and be like, this is amazing. And then we come back kind of like our Especial we were talking about.
Yeah.
That we just relaunched because we actually got the blend down right this time, and it's tasting amazing. That was something that got lost in translation when we did Especial originally. We loved what we smoked down there. We brought it in, and then when for whatever reason it just didn't taste what we wanted it to taste like, so we killed it very fast. And for a long time, we had people asking, when's the Especial coming back? When's the Especial coming back? Because they really like it.
Yeah.
And we even told them, like, they're not even tasting what we were intending for it to taste like. And so that was the nice thing with this project, was that with the fact we were able to just have it shipped straight to us. And now we know what it tastes like in the United States. So we don't have to worry about oh my God, is this I hope this tastes, the same as it did when we were down there.
I think there's different levels of it. I mean, because it's something that Christy says, thank you for bringing the Especial back.
You're welcome. That wasn't my doing, but
COVID or otherwise, I mean, there are some things where, again, I mean, who knows if you're going down, like in his tequila company, is he going down to Mexico or is he working from afar? You don't necessarily, everyone's got different levels of it.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, based on personal experience working with Erik and Hector with the BS Silver project, we told them what our ideas were for that blend. We already had a blend established. They are constantly working on, and we talked about this with Hector when he was on the podcast. They're working on multiple blends, multiple different tobaccos. They're doing things that they have samples, typically, to my knowledge, still in the 5x50 size, and they'll have the same filler core with a double binder, right, and a wrapper.
Yeah.
Then they have it also rolled in a sample, like basically like a bundle of things with. They switch up the binder leaf on one of the binders, and everything else is the same. Then they have a different core with those things. I mean, they have, like, they're working on all this stuff already.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Guy came in and was just saying, like, hey, let me go down to, like, if say there wasn't COVID going on, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to smoke Puritos. I'm going to learn this just like I learned making a recipe.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you're doing this as a side project, like he is very busy, that's not really as doable.
Right.
Maybe he is more hands-on. All I know is working with Espinosa Cigars, he could have, in the one night that we were down at Erik's place, we smoked portions of, like, we lit and smoked a quarter to a third of a cigar of easily 20 to 30 blends.
Yeah.
5 of which we had actually said, this is what we were looking for. And it was like, we want this wrapper leaf or this wrapper leaf, and we were looking for this type of a smoke. They had 5 that literally on the prototype blends said BS Cigar Company, and then it had a code, which was the wrapper, binder, and the filler code or filler combo. And so I can maybe imagine that's probably what they were doing. They're like, hey, what are you looking for? What do you think you want to do? Like Habano, and correct me if I'm wrong based on you, or I was hoping that Hector might pop on at some point, but it's like probably a similar type of a thing.
Hector's down in Nicaragua right now, so I don't know I don't know how good his Wi-Fi is.
But I would imagine working with Espinosa Cigars, you guys are really easy to work with when you're doing something like that, because it's something that's like, all right, what are you looking for? Okay.
And that's why you guys came to us.
Correct.
Right? Essentially.
And because Erik wanted to take a crack at it when we were like, that's great. This is, yep, absolutely. But it's not only like, hey, you wanted this. We also have these blends started. What do you like? You know, it's a process.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think that once we had something and we came back to Ohio, and Erik was literally like, hey, smoke them back at home, because based on what you're saying about like the Especial, Especial, same type of thing. It's like it might smoke differently in different regions because of the air and your experience and all that stuff.
Humidity in the air.
And then it's like, hey, let's tweak it. And based on Guy's, yes, he knows about recipes. He knows how this works. So maybe if he, as
it clicked
he's learning
in his head
more,
when we were going through this process, because it's very much similar to how a chef operates.
And he's like, I like this, but I want it to be a little bit more like this.
Yes.
And so if he's not as familiar with what's in the cupboard as far as ingredients, that's where Hector comes in.
Yeah, that's where Hector comes in, and that's where he makes the magic happen. And that's how, that's why we've been in the game as Espinosa Premium Cigars for 10 years.
It's like I said, they're constantly working different tobaccos. And now, in the last several years, you guys working with AJ Fernandez, you have more tobacco available. You have more rollers available. You're able to do different projects.
Yeah, that's a blessing working with that guy. I mean, I think I mention this every time I'm on the podcast, but it's true. I mean, we get to use his library of tobaccos, and AJ is, I mean, when you talk about Kings of Nicaragua, he's up there with Plasencia.
Absolutely.
He's up there with the best of them. Aganorsa, all of them. So, and the fact he grows so much, and he's got everything available. And if we say we want to use something, boom, it's really no questions asked. And it's a beautiful relationship. And we know the consistency is going to be there because it's AJ. And
that's what I mentioned. The construction is very nice. The draw is good. The draw is excellent. Burn line is solid, and we talked about the wrapper leaf. It's just absolutely nice sheen on this Habano.
Yeah,
Ecuadorian Habano. You said, yeah. Jake says, let's talk about the whiskey. We did.
He came in late.
It's all right. We did. We're going to get back to that, Jake, once we get to the ratings. I did want to talk about the marketing behind this cigar, because not everyone's as familiar with it. There are 2 blends, 3 sizes of each.
Correct. Corona Gorda 5 5/8 by 46. You got a 5x52 Robusto, which we're smoking, and then we've got a 6x54 Toro. The Maduros are all box pressed, and the Habanos are all round Parejos.
No 6x60s.
No 6x60s.
Yeah. You've got 3 different sizes of each, but they do you recall? You probably would, I would think, but I'm not going to put you on the spot. But there are letters next to them, which
I've never I've never asked about the letters actually.
so letters actually, from what I've learned, is that it's significant. I think people in guys' life.
Oh, so you're teaching me now. Beautiful.
Wow. Maybe we'll look it up at the break, but I believe it was like an E and something else. You know what I mean?
There's a J, I believe,
Yeah.
somewhere in there. Yeah. I actually, I'll be completely honest.
It
never,
confused me at first, but yeah, I think it is something that has some significance to guys' life.
I'm sure, and I mean, even you go with the Knuckle Sandwich brand as a whole. Knuckle Sandwich is something that Guy Fieri's had trademarked for years, and he's been waiting to put it on the correct project. And I mean, he's got shirts that say Knuckle Sandwich with this logo that are all black and have nothing to do with the cigar.
Yeah.
And it's just a personal brand that Guy's had, trademarked in the designs and stuff like that. And he's just waited all this time for the right project to put it on. And he thought that his cigar brand was one of them.
What I like about this too is that, obviously the celebrity endorsement's really cool, right? But you don't necessarily, besides Knuckle Sandwich, there's not, and correct me if I'm just not seeing it, but there's nothing on the branding necessarily that has anything to do with Guy except for on the bottom of the box.
Correct. On the bottom of the box, it says "Made in Flavortown." That's kind of what this is thing. It's a shtick. It makes sense.
Which during the cancel period there.
Yeah.
Well, that would have almost said it was going to be in Columbus,
Ohio,
Ohio, is what.
Which he's got roots here.
Yeah.
But it's a gorgeous thing. I absolutely love.
You know what I just looked at? I was looking at the skull on it with the chef hat,
Yeah.
which is another token that
It's an ode to it. Yeah.
There's the star behind it.
Yeah.
And the significance of the star is that to me, I'm just winging this here because of the stories I've heard.
Yeah.
The star kind of looks like the Hollywood Walk of Fame
All
star,
right.
which
Yeah.
he was just recently awarded his own spot on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which is a pretty
If it's not
pretty
intentional, it's
important-
significant. Though.
right. It's a pretty important part of his life and something he's very proud of. And definitely, it was actually after that moment that he was like, all right, I'm going to do a cigar company now. That was one of his things that he's like, once I can, he's a guy, he's got steps in his evolution of him being a businessman and a guy who wants to do what he wants to do. And he's always wanted to do a cigar company. And he got his Hollywood Walk of Star, and he goes, his people are like, okay, let's do this cigar brand now.
Absolutely love it.
And so he's like, all right, finally, let's do it. And he's like, I'm going to do Knuckle Sandwich. And I on the spot. And I remember him telling the story at Lazona Palooza. So I can 90% sure say that's probably the significance of the star.
Is this also the band coming out of the same person that does all the Laranja and everything else? Cigar Band Man? I would venture to guess it is.
I would love it. I wish I could give you a 100% answer on that.
It's fine if you don't have the answers. I think these are points that they're details just because we've worked with Erik and Hector.
Yeah.
Is that this is
I don't see why we would have went away with that.
I'm
guy.
telling you, I mean, smaller company, but that's who Erik, when we were dealing with, again, not to take off the attention of that, when we were dealing with our project with the BS, we were working with another company, and then at some point we were tired of it. We didn't really like the look of it. We were looking at that. He turned us on to Cigar Band Man. It kind of shows off the work, the detail, and the embossment on these things.
Mm-hmm.
The die cast things that they use, Ricky uses down there, is just so crisp.
Yeah, I mean, I love the band, and it's got our name on it. It's got our Espinosa E right there, smack dab below the
You've
skull
got some
and
traditional aspects of it with like the wreath, the leaves be underneath it.
Yeah.
You've got what's on your shirt, which is the skull with the chef's hat on, and then you have Espinosa on both sides of it, and there's gorgeous gold leaf on there, and then the big E not only underneath, but also I love the accent on the back of the band. As far as you wrap it around,
oh yeah,
put the glue on, and then you got the E on the back.
Yeah, and you know how we roll, Steve and Nate. I almost called him Jess. But we a little pre-podcast fun right there. No, you know how we roll, man. We don't cut corners on anything. And if we're gonna put a band on something, we're gonna put a band on it that we're very proud of and we're happy with. And that's Junior and everybody else. We take pride in what we put our name on, and we don't cut corners.
So give me a rundown. So I'm thinking as we're doing this is that with the the big hope. One, get Erik back on, which I assume we'll be able to, hopefully. I know he's a busy guy, but Erik Espinosa on. There's Richie Riot chiming in there.
Richie
Focus,
Riot.
Absolutely.
He's
That's
up
on
in
the
Chicago
BS.
right now. He's
That's on the
visiting
BS
his
Silver Band.
he's visiting some Benny's accounts. and
Happy
stuff like
birthday,
that.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, to Richie out there. But I do want to say let's highlight the Maduro, but let's hold off on really diving into that.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to have Erik on to maybe talk about that if we have him on back with you before you guys have another big release.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I ask a quick question about the Maduro?
Of course you can.
So is the makeup of the Maduro in outside of the wrapper the same as the Habano, or is it
No.
a different binder filler?
No, different.
So completely different
product.
blend. All right.
Yeah, and the Maduro, the wrapper on the Maduro is Ecuador Sumatra, which we just did on the Laranja Azulejo, but it's definitely a darker shade of Sumatra than the Azulejo, so it gives you a little bit of a different experience, and minus and a bunch of other stuff blend wise. But no, yeah, the Maduro is very tasty.
We could have an Espinosa roundtable. Now I'm thinking about it. I got Richie on here, right? I mean, that would be a fun episode. And see who lasts through part 2, whatever. If Erik's willing to share the spotlight, which he normally is. You got Erik, Hector, Jack, Richie, you, and maybe like a cameo by Guy on the Maduro.
We can work on that.
That's a lot of screens, but I think I can make it work.
We can probably make it
I
work.
don't care where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can have me and whoever was traveling with me.
Put
at
up the
time.
satellite phone down in Nicaragua. Get Hector on. Get that signal bumped up.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool. I really do.
Yeah.
And Richie already says, I'm down as fuck. All right, perfect. Richie's in. All right.
Richie is in.
John
My
Belly's
man.
calling out Jack Tarani right now. See if he's on there.
Attaboy, John.
But no, I think that would be a fun episode. I think that's something that maybe we could work on is get as many of your key guys.
Listen, our team is what make and Junior as well. Get him in
Junior
on there.
that. Yeah.
I mean, we're a great team, and it's so much fun to work with these guys. I mean, especially when I was down in Miami, you really got the family feel because Erik had us all up at the end of the closing party, and he called it. Everybody who was a part of the company that was there. He went one by one with everybody and told everybody what they did, how much he appreciates us and stuff like that. And we're one big happy family.
Yeah.
And it's an awesome environment to work with. I mean, Jack calls me about daily, and we have some, we rarely talk about business, I'll be honest, but it's really fun. And we love working together.
I kind of noticed that with some of our other connections in the industry that they've worked for the small family owned companies. They've worked for the big conglomerate type companies, and it's just they all talk about like there's such a different feel when you work for like a smaller either family owned company or like Espinosa where literally him behind starting it out on his own kind of thing. But there's definitely a different feel working for that small company versus say an Altadis or a General.
I think there's pros and cons to both of them, right? I mean, obviously the reach of the bigger ones, but I mean, it is nice. You think about look at some of the names and some of the history behind some of the, that the big boys have going back to, where it has an 1800s year on some of the bands.
Yeah.
That's because of the lineage.
Right. Yeah.
That's some of the lineage. Like, you know what I mean? I was just talking to a customer today about the Robayana family. You know what I mean? It's like,
I was there for that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So it's like that kind of a thing. They're like looking up, and then we have some pictures of Don Alejandro on the wall in the shop. And that just sparks all that stuff. And just, you see people's eyes light up. And I think that's something that, seeing into the future possibly is that's what Erik's trying to do.
Yeah.
It's a family name. He put his last name on it, like some of the greats did before. Now you're on some second, third, go back to Cuba, fifth generations.
Yeah.
It's like this is a potential generational business if it continues to succeed. And I think that there's nothing wrong with the big companies, but I do appreciate what you're saying, Tyler, with the fact that it does have that family feel.
Yeah, we're all super proud to work for the company that we're part of, and not taking anything away from anyone else, but I like to think we have we get business done, but we also know how to have a lot of fun with each other, and we bust balls a lot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what family doesn't type deal.
Absolutely. And I think that we've had Erik on before, and I've known him for several years. I mean, when you put your name on the company, on the bands, on the products, everything,
It means you stand behind something.
you absolutely do. And I think you see that in some of the great success stories before him in this industry specifically, not just this industry, but you've got some great ones. You've got the Fuente family.
Yeah.
You've got the Padron family. You've got some of these families that are putting out products that have been around now. They're not the first generation. The patriarchs have, unfortunately, time will take people away from you. And I think that's something that, Erik has already kind of foreseen, that he wants to leave a legacy with family.
Yeah.
And if you're blood related, that's the legacy. If you're not, Richie says Oliva, absolutely. There's a lot of them. And there's some out there that are first generational right now. And this is one of them. I really love to see where this goes. And I know we won't be able, be around to see 5 generations from now, but I'd like to see where this goes. It's so exciting to be.
Hopefully there might be a
shoes.
setup where we could see that somehow after we're gone. But it's
all right. That's going to be that's a different part too.
That's a different part too.
Let's get another barrel proof bottle out here. All right. Maybe get some weed, psychedelics. Like let's just.
Are shrooms legal in the state yet?
I don't think so.
Joe Rogan wants that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's getting a lot of what he wants. So there you go.
That he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Richie just mentioned another one, Casa Cuevas. I mean, the
There's a
Dominican
lot.
Republic. Yeah.
There's really a lot.
It's a very, the one thing I've learned since I joined this industry, and I followed it for years and stuff like that, but people are very proud to be in this industry and to work with family. And we, it's something special, and it's very much like the bourbon industry. You think about all the master distillers down the list of families and stuff like that. You can talk about Angel's Envy and the guys at Woodsford, the Four Roses, Wild
Eddie
Turkey,
Russell.
Yeah, of course,
Eddie
Jim
Russell.
Beam, the
Brown
Beam
Foreman.
family. Yeah, I mean, you can go down the list. It's very similar. I mean, it's a lot of generations and generations. And what was the stat? Like, every master distiller only sees like what?
I don't know. You started this.
They only see like a certain amount of like actual barrels like through their time as a master distiller, or something like that. Like actual how many like decades worth of certain products.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And again, you have a team behind it, like yourself, in that. So I mean, I'm not going to pump up Tyler's ego at all. I was more directed towards Erik, but yeah, no, Tyler. I mean, it's the same thing. It's being a part of something like that, you learn a lot. And whether you work, I think of going back to the bourbon thing. God, I'm like you. I'm drawing a blank. Buffalo Trace. What's Freddie
Johnson?
Yeah, Freddie Johnson. He's 3rd generation, I believe, with them.
Yeah.
So I mean, even inside the organization, you got this identity with a product, with a company, with just a lifestyle, right? I mean, just something that you really believe in. I think that there's something to it.
And then you got people that pop up first generation, like the guys at Willet.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's
that has a back and forth. I'd love to go over some
right.
Willet stuff again. I mean, that they did sell and they bought it, that type of thing. But you're absolutely right.
But at the point of what they're at right now, I mean, they've never been bigger than what they are now.
Correct. Yeah.
That's a lot to do with what Drew's done down there and stuff like that.
Doing great things.
That was a great distillery. So I went down, just a little backstory on the Larceny. Like when I went to the Heaven Hill that same day, I went
right
with the
next
Burn.
door.
I went with the Burn by Rocky Patel people of Indianapolis, which I was grateful for that they invited me to go down.
Well, you're there 6 nights a week.
Not that often, but I occasionally drop. It's nice when you live like a mile away. Not
we
even.
go upstairs.
We see the posts on Instagram.
You
But-
go upstairs, the bar is to your right. There's a room, and then your cot is it like is it in a back room? Or
I'd like to
is
think
it-
it was a well-earned trip, but at the same time, I had a great time and great experience down there. That was my first time going to like distilleries and stuff like that.
It's
and
neat. It's
it was very like
a lot of
informative.
parallels to the tobacco industry.
Of course, the same thing with wine. You can do the same thing with wine in like France and all that stuff. I mean, it's just the parallels between liquor, wine, and cigars is unbelievable. But going to Heaven Hill, going down to Willet, just checking out those places, it was truly like really cool just to be hands-on and stuff like that. And when we were in the gift shop, I went kind of wild in the Larceny section there. I didn't buy any alcohol, but I got some shirts, I got some hats,
yeah.
and I'm probably due to go back to see what else new.
You're a
swag
shirt
that
guy.
they have.
You're a swag guy, which I
I am a
appreciate
swag
since
guy.
you own a lot of the BS cigar and podcast stuff.
You got to support your guys.
Yeah.
And all full honesty, I've had a support you guys for years, and I'm not going to stop
since the beginning
soon.
that I know. Yeah.
And anytime I can support you guys with these awesome short 3/4 sleeves, the colors are fantastic.
I love the fact that
great.
I love the fact. Thank you. I love the fact that there is not only have you supported it, you were a part of the podcast before you were with Espinosa, and now you're supporting not only the podcast, the BS Cigar Company. The BS Silver is made by Espinosa.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's a great synergy there. I love that.
Yeah, it's
I absolutely
great
love that.
relationship. I have to say.
Yeah. In fact, it was funny. I was thought about wearing, instead of the swag for the BS or the podcast, was the Alpha Dog shirt.
Old school.
It's old school, and it was funny because Erik, when I was in Vegas, that one year I went to Vegas for the trade show, right? He's like, yeah, let me get you a shirt. But you got to make sure you post yourself in a picture in it, because not everyone wears it like you guys do. We get that comment all the time in the shop that it's like, so wait, like, do you guys all like have to work out to work in this shop? Like, that's not what I expect in most cigar industry.
We got that a couple
shops.
weeks ago.
Yeah. I had a guy last night, just a big dude.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get out when I said, is there something I can help you with? And he's trying to get out. I'm not really big into cigars, but he kind of like faltered on it, like he stuttered, or he tripped over his words. He's like, I mean, this dude's probably like 6'5", shoulders out to here.
Yeah, like he played D tackle.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm just like looking up at him, right? And he's like, yeah. So I'm not really big. And I'm like, pretty good size, man. And he just looks at me. He's like, not so bad yourself. I just don't know cigars very well. It was great. Josh was in there, the new guy Josh, who's jacked. It's just so he looks over, he's like, I figured you'd say something like that.
Never fails.
Never fails.
Never fails.
Pass me the bottle. I think we should to round out part one, unless you have more to offer on this.
On the cigar?
Yeah. What would you encourage people? And we can kind of roll into part two, I think, with the kicking stigmas.
Yeah, of course.
But as far as nothing about, nothing about this cigar, right? And you're going into a brick and mortar.
Not me. I know. I don't lie about this.
It's taking pages out of my book here. Say someone walks into.
Oh, we're talking
shop.
Vaguely, like a
say one
random
would walk
customer.
in looking to they see this on the shelf in the box or in a bin. What would you encourage them? Why would they pick this if they know that they know Espinosa products?
Right.
Why would they pick it? That's B. And C, say they already know that it's celebrity endorsed and guys on it. What would you say to these types of customers when you're in a shop? Because you had some experience in the retail side as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think every cigar has its opportunity to shine, depending on the right customer, right? And if you're someone that happens to stumble across this in the humidor, all I can ask for you is to try it. And whether you're actually a guy who smokes a lot of our stuff or someone who doesn't smoke a lot of our stuff, I think it's very important for people to expand their horizons and, maybe based on some other endorsed cigars that they've seen, maybe they didn't enjoy. And maybe, like we said, maybe we're kicking stigmas here. Maybe we're changing the game a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I would tell anybody. We're, at Espinosa Cigars, we do stuff different, and we're trying to change the game with some things. So I tell anybody to give it a try and give us your feedback. 100%.
Like it. Yeah.
Whether you've smoked 601 Blue for years or you smoke Murcielago, and like I said, like even if you've never tried any of our stuff, at least give it a try and give us your feedback. We'd love to hear it.
Absolutely. All right, so this is the time of the part one for those newer listeners out there, and we still have a lot of people listening. I appreciate the feedback. I'm going to put up the banner here before that to please share, like, comment, review, and subscribe on all platforms, all formats, that you enjoy. So you can listen on the audio, trying to keep that up to date the best I can. The best way to listen is to the video, where it's going to be on YouTube, if that's convenient for you, or it's going to be on Facebook. That's where we get the most interaction. John, have a good night. Thank you very much for being a part of the audience there. Make sure you share
John.
it before you sign off, I hope. And but this is where we do in part 1 before we have an intermission and we go into part 2, which is a life topic every week. 211 episodes or 221 episodes in. This is the whiskey, cigar, and the pairing. So we rate this. So we have the people on the panel. If we have some people in the audience that are doing the same pairing, we get some of that. We get people out there, hopefully, that are listening, and they comment about what they would rate if they're smoking the cigar, if they've had it before, just to get some comments. But it's out of 10. So 10 being the best, right? And there's three different ratings. First is the whiskey, which is going to be the Larceny Barrel Proof. Thank you, Tyler, for bringing this bottle.
My pleasure.
And then it's going to be the cigar. This episode, we're going to really focus on the Knuckle Sandwich Habano.
Mm-hmm.
We can highlight a little bit, like I said, the Maduro. That's going to be the second cigar, but I would absolutely love if we can line up something going forward in the next three months or so.
Yeah, absolutely.
As many of the Espinosa crews that we can to get on this like kind of round table. That'd be a fun episode.
That would be a great episode.
And if anyone wants to stay on for part 2, that's great. If everyone signs off they have stuff to do, we'll see who sticks around for whatever the life topic is that night. So the Knuckle Sandwich Habano, it's going to be out of 10, 10 being the best. And then the pairing, the Larceny Barrel Proof and this Knuckle Sandwich Habano. So audience has a microphone. Can you turn him on here? Sean, who's been on the podcast before, he is a frequent live audience member here. So you're smoking both the Knuckle Sandwich Habano now. You're going to light up the Maduro next.
Yes.
So he's got the Toro. So where are you at on that?
He's pretty far. He's
been
farther
doing
down than you.
He's not talking like we are.
I'm about to finish up the
Like
release.
I am.
I know. I'm yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Attaboy, Nate. You're enjoying
Sorry,
it.
I
huh?
host the show. Jesus Christ. All right.
He's a slow smoker.
I'm working here,
Do
for
everything
Christ's
at once.
sake. All right, you got the Knuckle Sandwich Habano.
It's all right, man.
You're sipping on the Larceny Barrel Proof as well.
Yes.
So start with the Larceny. I'm gonna sit
Larceny,
back and smoke.
It's my catch up. So I would say it's the first time I ever having Larceny. I really enjoy it. It's got a sweeter side, like Nate had said, molasses. There's a little bit of burn, but not. It doesn't go deep. It's actually a very well constructed. Is it bourbon?
Yes, it is a bourbon.
Okay.
It is a bourbon.
It's a weeded bourbon.
And it's very well constructed and very just very good flavor from the beginning to end. I'd give that an 8.5. The cigar I love. I mean, this is probably one of my new favorites, and I'm gonna give it a 9. It's like I'm more medium full, but I need to get back more into like the pepperier kind of cigars, and this is one that just reminds me of how good a peppery,
You put it at like medium plus.
yeah.
I agree.
And
Espinosa's got that kind of. Like,
oh yeah,
yeah.
they're the big boys. But the first you didn't see my face, Nate did. But when I first read her, I was like,
It'll catch you off guard.
You wanna
yeah,
talk about it a little bit. Like, you all right? You want to talk about it?
I'm okay now. I had some,
We're here for you. I
had
hope you
some
know
time
that.
to
Point to the
meditate on it
doll
and,
where the cigar hurt you.
Wow.
Yeah. had some I meditated and
Just brought up some memories there.
yeah,
Not for me.
okay. But
Just listeners out there.
so I'm gonna give it a 9. I love the flavor, and now when I become used to that peppery, then you start to get the flavors out of it, and it becomes more what you're tasting and everything. So yeah, 9, and the pairing together, I do an 8.5 as well. I think they really, the sweet and the spicy. I mean, it really kind of complements each other to have that to have both. So
Nice.
yeah, so I got.
Jesus.
See,
Thanks for choosing my direction.
Yeah, no problem.
My mouth was open.
Oh, there we go. Nope.
Time to bust out that Espinosa face mask.
I got one in my bag.
Just in case.
I got my Chappelle one next to it. Is that going to stir some controversy up?
Just for Netflix employees.
I was going to say, yeah. Maybe if we would, once we make it to the Netflix
Shout out
special,
to Dave. Shout out to Dave.
Yellow Springs.
Yellow
Another
Springs.
Ohio guy.
Yeah.
Tyler.
So I'll start with the Larceny.
Yeah.
I'm fuck you. I'm a big fan of this. It's one of my new favorite barrel proof offerings.
Mhm.
I wish it was a little bit easier accessible or more accessible. But at the same time, I appreciate it because it is that good where you want to go hunt it down, in my opinion. I'm a bit like, this is right up there with like Smoke Wagon Uncut, which I've had the Smoke Wagon on the last time.
Yeah.
That was just a normal basic bourbon.
Yeah.
Next time I'll have to bring in the big boy.
Cool.
Which I actually just saw some in Chicago. Actually, I kicked myself for not buying it. It was about $100 a bottle, but which is normal. I mean, it's not outrageous if you buy it.
I think the next time you're on, if we can line up that round table, Espinosa round table, we should do the Santo with the Maduro.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can find some Santo somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually is a good idea.
Thank you. Every once in a while.
Look at you. It's like you're on a podcast or something. But no, I would give Larceny Barrel Proof a solid like 9.2.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this, and it's hard to beat it when you're a barrel proof guy. I mean, I think I've had some barrel proofs from other companies that I'm like, like Angel's Envy. I'm not a big Angel's Envy guy for their other stuff, but when it comes to like their cast strength stuff, it's impeccable.
Yeah.
But it's kind of very similar where you can't find it anywhere. But that's right up there with it. And the cigar, I think the cigar is a solid 9.3. And when it comes to Habanos, it's actually one of my favorite offerings from our Habano lines in our portfolio. You know, we do 601 green, we do 601 red, Laranja is Brazilian Habano, but still Habano. Espinosa Habano, which I think is so in our portfolio, especially at the price point.
It's more balanced.
It's very medium and easy.
You're not as known for that.
Right. And so, but that's right there with it. And, but this, 9.3, I would say. I mean, I really, so, my man, Steve Saka has a quote for his Mi Querida. And he always says it's got the potato chip factor where you smoke one and you're reaching for your pocket for the other one. Just like you open a bag of chips, right?
100%.
Like you open a bag of chips, you can't just eat one. You got to have more.
Once you pop, you can't stop.
Yeah, you end up eating the whole damn bag. And you know, I light one of these, knuckle sandwich Habanos up, and I start grabbing for another one, because it's just that good. I mean, I buy boxes of these for my own personal. And when you
trunk stock.
No, I honestly I buy boxes at retail. Like I when you enjoy a cigar that much that you get for samples, and then you go out and actually use your hard-earned money on it, I think that speaks tenfold on the cigar.
Absolutely.
And I'm a big I love this cigar. I smoke it all the time, and it's really just so balanced, and it's got the richness to it, it's got the depth, and it's got that nice Habano smoothness that just like evens everything out. So I'd give it a 9.3. Pairing
Larceny Barrel Proof and
I'm for never doing this before, like just like out of the blue, I'm just like, this might work. I liked it a lot. I think it I don't think the Larceny, I think the fact how smooth the Larceny, especially at a barrel proof, is, I think it really goes well with this Habano at a nice medium plus. I'm intrigued to see how the Maduro does with it. Because that's just going to be
slow down on the bottle, but
yeah. But that's well, I'm about to put this down. You still got plenty to smoke. I mean, you got to worry about the bottle being gone before you light up.
Hand that over. No, I'm just kidding.
But we
bartender.
Another one.
We need Hector to pour Steve.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
You know what he told me the next day? We were at Bob Evans right next to our hotel. It was just convenient, right?
Sounds on brand.
And we I meet him over there for breakfast, and he looks at me with his big ass smile on his face. And he goes, "Crane got banged up last night, huh?"
I got banged up.
I'm like, yeah, I would say so. I'm like, with those pours you were giving him, yeah, probably.
He got banged up.
That too, but
Espinosa was here. He can control himself. He says the next day, he's like, "You got banged up, bro." I'm like, "Yeah, I did. I hope you got home all right. I hope you left." I think Hector was like, "Yeah, all right."
But no,
I love Mr. Warmth. Doesn't want to talk to anyone. Then you get him on a podcast, or you get him actually to sit down. Hector is fantastic.
He's awesome.
Again, that's why
if you haven't watched that episode of this podcast, I highly recommend watching the first 2 hours. The first 2 hours, I highly recommend watching. You could probably skip the rest.
2.5. Let's do 2.5. Let's stretch it out a little bit.
Yeah.
2.5 out of 345 or so. We were.
That was fun.
That was a good night.
Yeah, very good night. But the pairing, I'd give it out of the blue. I thought it was like a solid 9. I'll give it that.
It's fair.
I think it's a respectable pairing. Something that if I definitely end up getting another bottle or two of Larceny Barrel Proof, I'll be doing this pairing again for
Love
sure.
it. Love it. Nate?
Nathaniel?
So on the whiskey, I'm right there with Sean. I'm an 8.5 on the bottle. Definitely did enjoy it. I was kind of surprised with the proof, like it didn't have that Kentucky hug down in the sternum or chest area.
Never gets there.
Nope, never gets there.
I mean,
It's
interesting.
For that whiskey to not have the hug but have such a lingering finish, like that's
it's impressive.
Yeah. Good bottle. Cigar, I'm an 8.5 on the cigar as well. To me, this is kind of like when I first smoked the Habano. I smoked the Maduro, and then right after that, I smoked the Habano. And this time, we're doing the other way around. I thought that this was kind of like taking the Espinosa Habano and adding more kick to it.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like the Habano, but just a little bit more punch. The flavor's a little bit more intense. There's a little bit more complexity going on with this one. So it's just kind of taking that, core Espinosa Habano and just beefing it up a little bit, I think. So 8.5 whiskey, 8.5 cigar. The pairing, I was surprised on the pairing. I give the pairing a 9.
Nice.
There was a while there where I was just focusing on smoking the cigar and kind of let the whiskey rest a little bit. And when I went back to the whiskey after smoking the cigar, I got a little bit more sweetness out of the whiskey. And then when I did the whiskey, then the cigar, a lot of times that'll highlight more spice on the palate, but it really didn't do that. It didn't overwhelm the palate going that direction, but sitting there smoking the cigar for a while, it definitely brought out a little bit more sweetness on the whiskey. So yeah, I'm a 9 on the pairing because I think they went pretty well together.
Nice. I gotta start doing what you do and write it down beforehand, because I was borderline agreeing with you for the second week in a row, and that's not normal.
I know.
Either you're getting smarter, or or I am. I think so. With the whiskey, the Larceny Barrel Proof, I really like this. You said it's about 60 in the state of Ohio, right?
Yeah.
All right, so $60. Great buy. I mean, I'm going to be difficult and give that like an 8.75, because I think bang for your buck, this is a great barrel proof bottle. This iteration of it.
Yeah.
Based on what you said before, it sounds like I would probably, if you like this one, I'd probably like, the A. This is the C.
Yeah.
The B, I don't know. But if you like the A, the first release, I would imagine I would too. I'll give it an 8.75. The thing the reason I wouldn't give it a 9 or above is because this bottle I really like. This product of Larceny Barrel Proof sounds like, based and I trust Tyler's opinion on this, because he, better or worse, drinks a lot of whiskey. I think that it's something that if you go in there, you really have to look at the fine details there. If you're putting on a product, and we talked about this in the past with some single barrel releases, and I'm not even talking about like, bar picks or, barrel picks or any of that stuff. I'm saying like something that you see on the shelf. Larceny Barrel Proof. Can't find it. 6 months later, I can find it. If I'm not in tune with the fact that now it says D on there or E, and I'm not paying attention to the proof, I just see Larceny Barrel Proof, I might be disappointed. Yeah, I think you really have to like educate yourself on this, which is why you listen to podcasts like this. You do a podcast like this. You actually like talk to people. You're part of like bourbon groups and stuff like that. If you have a passion in this, it really benefits you to really learn a little bit more about what you're actually drinking, because if all you look is Larceny Barrel Proof, that's just going to be a stronger Larceny, or Larceny Barrel Proof. I bought it 6 months ago, a year ago. Finally, I found another bottle. I can't wait to have it. And you're disappointed. Then you might question yourself, like, did my palate change? Did what I like change? All that stuff. That's where I can't hit a 9 on that, because I think as a product, if you find this bottle, this barrel proof, this batch of the C, was it 921?
Yes.
I think that you could really say, yes, this one is a 9 or above.
Would you
Barrel
be
Proof.
curious enough to spend the $60 on the next
one?
batch?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Well,
But
'cause-
you
'cause
made a
we've
comment.
had-
No, wait. You made a comment though that if it was under 120, if it was 115 again, you probably wouldn't buy it again because you were disappointed on the second release.
Yeah, but I got a lot of faith in Heaven Hill and what they do as a
That's why I
distillery.
rated it the way I did, though 8.75.
Yeah.
Because if it was a little bit more consistent on the releases, all right, it's not the same product. I get it. You can't do it again, but this is what you put that label on.
Yeah.
We've had those where we've had the barrels sitting next to each other. This is years back now.
Yeah.
The barrels next to each other, and it's like they wanted this one to be this product, they wanted this one to be this product, and then all of a sudden it's like they sample it and they're like, hang on, let's switch those labels.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I can't.
Yeah.
Well,
This is a great bottle. If you can find the C921, I would give that one a 9 or above. Larceny Barrel Proof overall, if you're listening to this as a review, when you see it on YouTube, when you see it wherever it is, 8.75, great product. You got to really, look at the details.
Yeah, because we had that one time before we even had those. It was another company I won't mention, but Steve, you and I have had 3 different single barrels from the same brand.
Yeah,
and only one of them we liked.
That's
and it was
kinda my thought.
and it was like a $55 bottle. But the fact that only one hit out of the 3 makes us hesitate to possibly buy a fourth.
Does that brand have 2 letters or 2
Stop. No, I'm not going to do that. But I did actually, yes.
But yours is batting 2. This one, at least, according to Tyler's, batting 2 out of 3.
Listen, though, like with that, though, when I see that as a bar pick, right? Like someone did a barrel pick on that product. Yes, this one I'm not there yet because, again, this is a batch. This is not a barrel pick. When I see that, I'm not going to buy it. Someone buys me a drink at a bar of that, and I even tell them, like, I have not a great track record with this. It's great. Take a sip of it. Cool. I'll buy the next round. That's kind of what I'm saying. So 8.75.
Yeah, gotcha.
The cigar, Knuckle Sandwich Habano, I was excited about this. Leading into part 2, King Stigmas. My relationship with Erik Espinosa and his company, I have a lot of faith in that.
Yeah.
And we didn't really talk about this a whole lot, but in the rating, I will say this, is that Erik, when he told me this story, and he might even tell it to you if you see him, but it's one of those things. When guy who is a acquaintance pushing probably more friend at this point, over the years, when guy says, hey, I want to do a cigar, like you said, Tyler, he wants to do the cigar. He wants to make Knuckle Sandwich a cigar brand. And he approaches his cigar guy, which is Erik. And he says, I want to do this. And Erik's first response is no.
And we will divulge further into that.
That's fine. But but Erik was conscious of the fact that there are stigmas to that.
Yeah, of course.
And if he's going to put his name on that, we had a similar story with the Russell family, Wild Turkey and Long Branch with Matthew McConaughey. So it's one of those things. It's like, now I got my name on this. Look at the band. It doesn't even say Guy Fieri. It says Espinosa. This is an Espinosa product.
Yeah, of course.
So I'll give this cigar, the Knuckle Sandwich Habano, I'm going to give it an 8.75. I think this is something that I love. What I love about Espinosa products is that they are very traditional. They've got some very traditional products in your line, your portfolio, but you guys have just that oomph factor. You see something. Knuckle Sandwich, if I see a band, if I'm that A consumer that I've never heard of any of this stuff, Espinosa or any of that stuff, I see Knuckle Sandwich on there. That's a good looking band. This doesn't look like a bundled cigar that someone's trying to gimmick me out of, right? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But there are some bourbon bottles out there that have a similar thing. I don't know where like the distillery, I don't know the celebrity. I look at it, I'm like, Knuckle Sandwich. Pass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I smoke that, if I go in there are some the stigmas that are a part of that, is that this is an aggressive name, this is aggressive label, it's very high end looking.
Mm-hmm.
The price is mid tier. It's not a cheap bundle cigar.
No,
it's not your
anymore. It's
price.
pretty an average price cigar.
It's a step
anymore.
up.
Yeah.
8.75 because this is a great Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Nicaraguan filler and binder. This is something that's a little amped up. I like what Nate said. This is like the Espinosa Habano, which I absolutely love. This is an amped up version of this. This is something that, not saying it's shared tobaccos, but it's like you get a knuckle sandwich. I don't want a mild cigar. You named it knuckle sandwich. I don't want like I don't want like smooth and creamy. Like this is like
you're expecting a punch.
This is a brunch item. No, this is like lunch, or this is a steak dinner. That's what I like about this, is that you go into a Guy Fieri restaurant, whether it's touristy or not, which most of them are, you're expecting a lot of flavor. And I admire also the Flavor Town thing. It's like, all right, it is what it is, right? But it's like this has flavor. This is in your face flavor, but it's not overpowering. So 8.75. The pairing, I'm with you guys a little bit in the garage here, a 9. I think that now established everything that I said about this, and I'm very wordy, and I appreciate everyone tuning out while I said this. I hope you guys stick around for part 2. But it's like consistency on the bottle is in question, so I can't give it a 9. You got some factors here. Objectively, again, I'd say the Knuckle Sandwich Habano is a 9+, but all things considered, I'm going to give you an 8.75. Together, 9, because now that we're drinking this bottle, if you can find this bottle, you're smoking the Habano, this is a solid pairing.
Mm-hmm.
This is really, but it's flavorful, and I'm not trying to tug on guys. Nope. It's a good pairing. I think this is, with this cigar, it smokes really well with a stronger proof whiskey.
Yeah.
If we had an 80 proof, that cigar would destroy that.
Yeah.
You want to be able
you want to be able to taste any.
And that's medium plus. I mean, this is not necessarily like this is like kick you in the teeth type of a cigar, but it would. So that being said, we're going to take a quick intermission. If you're listening on the audio, we're going to encourage you guys to click to part 2. But I do want to round out with not only the patreon.com/bourbonandbs podcast. You guys are amazing. You get a discount code for the buyjack.com Bourbon BS for shirts. Tyler's a big supporter of the show. Appreciate that. Love the full circle again. If I can reiterate that you are a cigar enthusiast, you supported the show, you supported BS, you supported Espinosa, and now you work for the company that makes the BS silver. And
pretty cool.
You guys are great at Espinosa. And Altadis USA, thank you very much. Tinderbox at Easton, where you can find the knuckle sandwich, not only the Habano, but also the Maduro in a
Robusto and Toro size.
Yeah, but a very full portfolio of the Espinosa line. So there's a lot of things you guys can try out there. And the BS Cigar Company, the gold, Placencia, and as we mentioned, the silver is going to be from the La Zona factory from Espinosa. Fantastic smokes as well. So, guys, thank you very much. Happy Whiskey Wednesday. And cheers to part 1. Stay tuned for part 2, or click over to part 2 if you're listening on the audio. Cheers, guys. Have a good week. That is a good pairing.
That's a very good pairing.
That's a good pairing.
I enjoyed that thoroughly.
Wow.
Are we still live on the YouTube? Or
we're still live.
We're live on the Wi-Fi's right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Facebook and YouTube. Yeah.
Woo.
Is there something you want to say to your fans? Or a particular fan? Is there someone
I
listening?
don't know. I'm looking down the list. Nope, I think I mentioned everybody. I apologize if I missed anybody. But
I like seeing some people I haven't seen, like Alan Hirschberger. Jeff
Chrissy
Bucher.
Critchfield, what's up?
Chrissy's been out
If
there.
Chrissy's
Jeff
still
and Mark,
on.
I've seen you on before. John, who had to leave. That's great. Hockey Dan's out there. Connor Carney. Richie Riot. Love seeing him out. 40.
40. Man. Looks good for 40.
Calm down.
Yeah. I'll be 25 on the 18th of June. Always got to clarify that.
Here's what I got to
Just
say.
a young buck.
All right, so in the intermission right here, right now, the reason I want to have an Espinosa roundtable is because I think that it's going to be a very fun conversation.
Absolutely.
But through the Tinderbox at Easton and also the BS Cigar Company and just the Smoking 10 event, everything else, through the steps that got the current crew that I am associated with in the Espinosa family. You got Erik Jr. That was the BS Cigar Silver that obviously was really like next level,
right?
And the whole family, Susie and everyone else, right? And then you have Richie Riot when he was with another company.
Yeah,
I drove him back to a hotel after the 10 event, right? I've had Jack Tarano at the 10 event when he was still repping Tarano,
right,
in a sense, after the general bought him out,
right?
And then I've had him in the garage with Karen, who was all about that.
Yeah,
the novel,
the novelist.
And like,
how is she? Did she come out with the novel?
I haven't seen her lately, but yeah. No, the novel's not out. The novel's not out. We're gonna have to do it. If we have her back on, we gotta have Jack.
Absolutely.
This is part 2.
Yes,
we got Jack on there that he's like big in the cigar industry, and part 2 is mostly about not him.
Right.
I love it.
You just sitting there enjoying it.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
We've had Erik in the garage again several times, and also in the Columbus area smoking. Hector. I met down in Miami, and then he doesn't travel much. And then what does he do when he travels to this area? He's in the garage.
Of course.
The Espinosa family has been a big support of the podcast, and I just love the realism of like that like down to earth feel of this family at this level. Having you obviously a part of it now, but I absolutely love the fact, why I say it all the time, is that we have this beyond boutique brand.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Oh, Jack T.
I wonder if he heard that, what I said about him with the Karen podcast. But no, I love the fact that it's just like you guys, it's one of those, like, you build it, they come. And I appreciate everyone supporting Tinderbox at Easton. And by way of that, that's the synergy of this podcast of the beginning.
Yeah.
But what really translates to the audience is the fact that it's so basic. We don't have a studio. You have Erik from the top, Hector, his right-hand man blender, director of operations, Jack Tarano, sales manager, right? You have Richie Riot. What's his title?
Head of key accounts.
Head of key accounts. You've got Tyler Jones.
Yeah,
You've
just
got
Tyler.
Just Tyler. No, it's not.
The BS Cigar Company.
Midwest sales manager.
I haven't had Ricky yet, but he makes our bands.
Yeah.
And you guys have almost all ended up in a cul-de-sac garage in Columbus, Ohio to do a 3 to 4 hour episode of a podcast. You're like, why would we do that again? And then you guys come back.
When
I absolutely fucking love that.
When we do Lozona Palooza 2023, we should do a Bourbon and BS podcast live from Lozona Palooza.
And Erik's invited us down several times.
That would be awesome. The logistics of it, I have no idea how that would go.
We'll work on coverage. We'll work on coverage.
Or we'll do it remotely. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
And
I absolutely love that. I love the fact you guys have done that. It's so exciting to me that it's so humbling that we do this out of my garage again on a cul-de-sac in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah,
and
we're happy to be a part of it.
Completely random.
We can go to Lozona Palooza. I can pack up all the sound equipment in a suitcase, and I'll live out of a backpack carry-on.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Figure it out.
What could go wrong?
We just got to work on coverage at the Tinderbox. That's the only hurdle.
That's right.
Brian's working extra.
Let's not, to make that happen.
Right,
hey, we
have to have our customers buy boxes of Espinosa Cigars.
We do
facilitate a 3-day close of the shop.
Yeah.
We do have a couple of customers that have gone down to Lozona Palooza.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Invite only.
Invite only. Yeah.
Invite only.
Keep posting on social media.
Yeah.
Use our hashtags Espinosa every day. Hashtag Lozona Palooza 2023. We'll find you. And we'll make sure.
And hashtag us.
Hialeah. Right outside Miami.
It's right outside. It's just east or just west of
I think
Miami.
suddenly Sean's gonna start buying a lot more Espinosa stuff. So that way he can go down.
All right, you guys want to roll into part 2?
Sure.
Hit the head.
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, you're gonna have to carry this because you brought up the topic.
All right, fair enough.
He's got those young shoulders.
All right.
I think you guys have had me at like every hair length on here.
same with me.
Right. I've had the long, I've had the military cut, I've had the decent, and then I had now I'm kind of grown back a little bit.
I had the shaved yesterday morning. I've had the 5 o'clock shadow on my head. I've had the 6 o'clock shadow on my head. And it all depends. Yeah, same thing. Same
concept.
Same diff.
Same concept.
And you wear a hat every time.
I do. Yeah, I like this hat. I'm gonna get some custom made ones. This one's getting worn a little bit.
All right. Well, you know a guy that makes a lot of good swag.
I know a guy.
Not me, Erik.
You got a guy.
All right.
All right, let's kick off part 2.
Jesus.
Let's get this rocking.
Welcome back to the Bourbon and BS podcast, everyone. This is episode 221, part 2, Beyond the BS. So you guys have already lit up the next cigar. I'm getting to it. The Espinosa Knuckle Sandwich Maduro was the one you guys are lighting up.
I'm about an inch into it already.
It's not a contest.
No, of course not. But,
You don't want to be too aggressive with it. Try to ease into it sometimes.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys are just listening to the part 2, make sure you click back to 221 part 1. And that way you can listen to us talk about not only the project of the Knuckle Sandwich, but also the bottle we're drinking still is the Larceny Barrel Proof. But a lot of information on there from Tyler Jones from Espinosa Cigars. Number 5 as far as the episodes you've been a part of.
Yeah, this is my 5th time. 5-timer.
You've actually been in the garage multiple times
Well,
beyond that just to hang out.
Shit, you kidding me? How many times? I don't even know the number of how many times I've just sat in here.
9. No, I don't know.
9, probably 9 times. I've been in.
times.
That's probably
Nine
9 times.
But no, Tyler's a big supporter of the podcast. Obviously, he was part of the podcast before he even started with Espinosa Cigars. So it's really cool to see where it's gone since then for you. And thank you for bringing not only the Knuckle Sandwich Maduro that we're smoking, I'm about to light up, but also the Habano.
You're welcome, Stephen. You're welcome, Nathaniel.
This is a newer cigar, and this is a collaboration between Erik Espinosa and Guy Fieri.
Yes.
So definitely check out part 1 if you guys, or if you're listening live now, catch the video late, scroll back or listen to another time. A lot of information. Very cool. Very cool. Again, Larceny Barrel Proof is what we're sipping on still. Nate Hale's still in the garage with us.
Oh, Dougie Fresh, Doug Sifford's watching. Shout out.
Who, again, great support of the podcast. He's been on before. It's fantastic.
How you doing,
I
Doug?
love it. Doug, thank you for watching and supporting us as well. I do want to, for part 2, Tinderbox Cigars in Columbus, Ohio. They carry Espinosa, great part of your line. Not everything, but it's a pretty big portfolio.
It's damn near the whole line.
You guys have a big shelf on the humidor.
We appreciate the support as always.
Absolutely. And Erik Espinosa is a big supporter of the Columbus area as well as the shop and the podcast. We appreciate that. But the Knuckle Sandwich, Maduro, and the Habano are available there in the Robusto and the Toro size, which is 2 out of 3 sizes of each. So check that out. If you guys don't have it at your local brick and mortar, like Tim, who is up in Vermilion, Ohio, he wants to add some of that to his order.
Sweet.
Ship it to you guys. Absolutely. Altadis USA, you see it behind us. Monte Cristo, Romeo, Upman, and Aging Room, among others. But Josh Bentley's been a big supporter of the podcast. And Altadis USA, absolutely big supporters. Normally in the second part, we do smoke one of those. Their cigars, but you have brought some great cigars with you as well. So thank you very much.
No problem.
BS Cigar Company, the gold is Plasencia. Silver is Espinosa. Great.
Proudly made at Luzerne.
Proudly made. And you can see Nate and I both wearing the BS Cigar Company, which is obviously a supporter of the podcast, the 3/4 sleeves. If you go to buyjack.com/bourbon and BS, you can buy some of the swag. I know Tyler got your other 3.
Yeah.
So now you got all 4 colors of what we're wearing right now. And there's also the Pour One More, Light Up Another, We'll Figure This Out Together podcast t-shirt. And we appreciate all the support out there. There's some hoodies out there. It's fantastic. Saw Chris in the garage with the blue one, the Nicaragua.
That's a great looking. I still can't believe I haven't bought one of those.
I can't either. But buyjack.com/fall
time when I need to wear
buy your own BS hoodie. Absolutely.
Not very applicable right now with the weather we got now. It is too hot.
Just travel north or sit inside in the air conditioning. You know what I mean? Early mornings, whatever it is. But thank you guys
That's a good
very
point. That's a
much.
good point.
And also, if you guys want to help contribute to everything we do here, patreon.com/bourbonbs podcast or Venmo at Bourbon and BS. That helps us out financially just to keep this thing going. And obviously sponsors like yourself for episodes. You guys are amazing. So, all right, let me put it up on the screen. Tyler.
Kicking stigmas.
Kicking stigmas. Part 2's we always do a life topic. So tonight it is kicking stigmas. This was kind of based off of the fact that you guys are doing this Knuckle sandwich,
Correct.
which is a celebrity brand.
Essentially, yeah. Getting down to the brass tacks, yeah.
So tell me why you wanted to do this initially, and then we can take it many different directions.
Right, and I think it's a topic that we really can take it in a lot of different directions. And you know, as a member of the company, I'm part of the team at Espinosa. I'm super proud of what it seems like we've been able to accomplish with this brand that not too many people in our industry have. And what I mean by that is, you know, we've had there's been people that have had their attempts at, you know, having celebrity cigars and stuff like that. You know, back in the day, yeah, like George Hamilton, Chuck Norris had a line, and Mike Ditka, he's had like 3 different lines.
Oh, I
stuff
smoked
like
a
that.
lot of like the game times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plus some Bears football.
Of course. And, you know, the cool thing is about, you know, those are cool, respectable brands and stuff like that. But, you know, they had their time in the sun and they kind of, you know, slow down for the most part. And, you know, you don't really see them out there as often. But what we've been able to do is we've been able to tap someone. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
No,
sorry about coughing in the mic.
Shower on my left side here.
But what we've been able to do is really do what we've brought someone into the cigar industry that the cigar industry's never seen before, personality wise, and as a business person as a whole, I would say.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, like, I mean, we've had, when we first launched this cigar, we had a couple of people from some very, very respectable cigar companies that came up to us and were like, you guys have done something this industry's never seen before. And we're like, I mean, like, this dude lives, breathes cigars, and he is a cigar smoker through and through. But the reach that this guy has is something that the cigar industry has never seen before. You know, you get a lot of athletes that do, you know, cigars in our industry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the one thing, you know, I would say about that is it's amazing that these athletes want to get, you know, in the cigar game, but it's super regional. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I do.
There's
explain it though to the audience.
So, and in this way, how many people in Boston are going to smoke a Eli Manning cigar? You know what I mean? Like
less than half.
Right. I mean, they're probably still pissed that he beat them, you know, twice in the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
And so and it seems to be that kind of trend, that stigma.
About a TB12.
Yeah, TB.
Probably less than Eli.
I don't think Tommy is going to be smoking any.
More Florida.
Thomas is not going to be smoking an Eli Manning cigar, if I had to guess. But that's if that guy even smokes. That dude's an alien, I swear. I don't know how he's still playing. But you know that, and you know, people. The cool thing with what we've done is that we've taken a concept that the cigar industry has been trying to do for a while, and we've actually been able to implement it a way that this whole experience of this brand so far has been crazy. And that's just because of the guy we partnered with.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the deal with doing this, and you hinted it towards the beginning of the show, is that, or towards the end of part 1.
Yeah.
Was the fact that originally Erik told Guy no.
Yeah.
And you know, Erik's very open about that, and Guy is too. And Guy was like, what do you mean no? He goes, I don't think Guy Fieri's the type of guy who gets told no a whole lot, based on how
Probably
successful
point,
of a human being he is, and especially business wise.
Yeah.
So he was kind of taken back, and then he came back to Erik like a month later and was like, I understand, I respect the fact you told me no, but why? And so Erik, you know, divulged into it. He goes, listen, bro, he goes, nothing personal whatsoever. It's just something that doesn't work very much in our industry because, you the celebrity that does a cigar with a manufacturer, and they can do it with a very reputable manufacturer, but the celebrity takes one picture with the cigar when it first released and it sells for a couple months and it kind of, tails off a little bit. Doesn't become anything.
They want royalty checks. They want
exactly.
like, this is like, all right, you can do it. Yeah, you can use my
likeness on this product, right? And give me like what I don't know how those deals with other people go, but so part of the deal, I got this smoke just billowing in my face.
One of the garage doors open.
Yeah.
Great ventilation in the garage.
Great ventilation.
Once again, I mean, like I was complimenting the Espinosa crew for being a part of the podcast.
We love being here. We love being here.
Yeah,
but we
smoke in my face. Jesus Christ.
Where was I at?
I don't even know.
No, but we were but so Eric's like, first,
he said
we're
no.
gonna
He said no.
Eric
That's
said
right.
no. So guy goes, how do we make if we were to do this, how do we make this work? So Eric goes, first you got to have some skin in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Guy goes, okay, no problem. We're gonna do t-shirts. I want to see you doing some of your shows with the t-shirt on. I want to see you put it on social media.
Yeah.
I want to see you do your thing. You do your thing, guy. And he goes, okay. And then he goes, at some point we're gonna have to collaborate our schedules to do events. I'm gonna need you to be there with to see the consumers that are gonna be smoking these cigars, and then we're gonna have to do shop visits and stuff like that. When we can work it out between our schedules and stuff like that, of course, because he's a very busy dude. So
treat it like one of your businesses,
right? Of course. And so guy goes, okay, I'm in. And
Yeah.
Eric's like, oh shit, now I gotta make this guy a cigar. So it took about 2 years to do it, and we're very, very proud of how it started out. Guy's done his part. When I got back from Miami, I was talking to my dad on the phone, and he goes, yeah, I was just watching like Discovery Channel or something. It was some show with Guy and his family, and they were spearfishing fish in the Caribbean or something like that. And he saw a Guy and Hunter, his son, wearing Knuckle Sandwich cigar t-shirts. Yeah. And my dad's like, that was super cool.
The Espinosa Miami Vice color ones. Remember that? Like he was wearing that at one point. Which I love
when
that
Erik
shirt.
was on one of the episodes of Diners, Drive-Ins, Dives, and Guy's like, you know who this is? This is Erik Espinosa Cigars. Like that was cool.
Yeah.
That was super cool. And I mean, that guy, the amount of reach that guy has, and he uses his platform to show his cigars off. I mean, it was a couple weekends ago. I was looking on Instagram and I saw his Instagram feed come up. The dude is in Southern California at a country music festival doing a barbecue thing with Luke Combs, who is arguably the most popular country music artist to this day. I mean, I think that dude sells his concert tickets more than anyone, like higher at price point than anyone else. Like the dude,
Luke Combs right now.
I mean, good God. I mean, I tried going to one. I was like, holy shit, $500 to go see Luke Combs on a concert.
Can you write that off? Let's figure that out.
We'll figure out. We'll have to figure that out. We'll have to figure that out
after the podcast type of a conversation.
But during all these pictures of Guy with Luke Combs, he's got a Knuckle Sandwich cigar hanging out of his mouth, smoking it while he's barbecuing, whatever with Luke Combs.
Well, I'm thinking about it. Like you went to a concert with Jack, right?
Yeah. Me and Jack T did go to a concert here in Columbus.
Who paid for that ticket?
That was Mr. Tranio.
Just giving you some ideas.
Yeah.
Carry on. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure that was out of Jack's pocket, but
that's fine. It's not out of yours.
No.
Right, Luke Combs,
great.
here we go.
Luke Combs, here we go.
You like country music,
Jack? You like country music?
Let's figure this out.
Of course, and that was a great concert. Green Day, Fall Out Boy, Weezer. I wasn't the biggest Weezer fan, but I like a couple of their songs. But Green Day and Fall Out Boy absolutely murdered it. It was fantastic.
Weezer had their day before you, yeah.
Yeah, I think Weezer was a little bit before me. But Fall Out Boy and like Green Day was like my childhood.
Okay.
I was like, yes. He's like, you like him? I'm like, is that a trick question? I'm like, of course I like him. I grew up listening to Green Day.
It's so funny because Green Day was like the I Hope You Had the Time of Your Life song.
Good riddance.
I graduated in 1998 from high school.
Across America.
Across America, that was your graduation song.
Oh yeah, every photo montage.
I was going to say that any slideshow that the student council put together at any high school you were a part of, whether you like them or not, whether you were a fan of Green Day, before you were listening to Green Day, this was like I was annoyed. As a 17-year-old, I'm like, yeah, of course you picked that song. All right, it's a good slideshow. You know what I mean? Like, it's fine, but like, all right, go on.
Where's I going with that?
I think we're trying to get you some Luke Combs tickets.
Yeah, of course. So guy, he's posting all these pictures on social media and stuff, and he's doing his part. Hunter's got a knuckle sandwich cigar with him all the time, and he wears the shirts and stuff like that. It's truly been, something that it's truly amazing that we've got to this point where it's like, yeah, all right, everything's going to plan type deal.
Yeah.
Now we just need the next step, which is, maybe more swag, or maybe you get more of these events scheduled with Guy and Erik both there and stuff like that. And that's going to take time. And, I tell all my retailers, if anyone's listening, just be patient with us. We're figuring it out as, it's very hard to figure out what this guy's, schedule is, but we're working on it. And we really, really are super excited for these opportunities where Guy will be able to go to shops, and he's already done it in Florida. So it's only a matter of time before we did our launch event for this. The first one after the Great Smoke, when it was just like a normal cigar event type style in Puerto Rico. We did it at one of the largest, probably the largest actual cigar lounges and shops in Puerto Rico. And it looked like a huge success, and everybody told me it was a great time and everything like that. And it sounded like it was awesome. So I just can't wait till we get to that opportunity in more places, hopefully maybe in the Midwest.
Be great to see, these cigars at anything that, any of the restaurants.
The cigars are living up to the name of us and him and what he does.
That's
also the awesome and crucial part about this is the fact that we are actually getting this project is successful because it is a great cigar on top of the fact it's got Guy Fieri's connection. I have a retailer in downtown Milwaukee. Shout out to Yuli's Tobacco. Those guys have been in the business for years and years and years. They're one of the oldest tobacconists in the country.
That's where Laurel Tilley used to work.
Yeah, shout out to Laurel. And so I went in there and I gave them samples of it, and the owner Jeff, he's like, Tyler, I've been in this industry a very, very, very long time. And this is the best by far celebrity cigar I've ever smoked.
So there's the stigma though. Nate, what did you want to say before we dive into this a little bit?
Well,
further?
I mean, so this cigar has only been out for a couple months.
Since like late February is when we started shipping it.
Okay. I'm curious to revisit this in a year and see where it is still.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
as far as the reach.
Well, as far as
how popular it still is,
I mean,
like the sales is good and stuff like that.
Are people still buying this cigar? Are shops still carrying this cigar? Like, is this cigar going to? Because anytime any cigar brand comes out with a new product, there's going to be that initial burst,
of course,
and people are going to gravitate because they want to try the new thing. But you always hope that people come back to it because there's so many cigars out there. You can't keep them all in your rotation. So I'd be curious to see in a year from now, like how this brand is how this cigar, the Knuckle Sandwich, both of them, like how they are selling, how they're doing. Like, do they still have traction? Are they still relevant?
Yeah, of course.
That's going
to be the most testament of us doing our job correctly.
Yeah, and
we've got to be able to do it right.
Yeah. Not just relevant like in the cigar game in general, but are they still going to be relevant in the Espinosa portfolio?
All right.
Like that's where I'm curious to see where this goes down the line.
You and me both, pal. I'm very excited for the future of our company as a whole. On top of the fact, we've got this project going on. It's been truly it's been a lot of fun already, and I just can't wait to see how much it grows over time and how much we build off of this brand.
So obviously, I would think that on one note, expanding that and Guy really bringing more of his footprint on this is any of his restaurants that allow cigar smoking. Is there a humidor in there with the Habano and the Maduro? Is there a cigar that, again, now that COVID's loosened up, that
be careful when your next words coming out of your mouth are.
Now that COVID's over, that he can actually get into the factories. Can he come up with a again, maybe a little bit more of a classic type of a thing with a launch? Is that you have the medium, you have the full, right? And Habano is a medium plus, the Maduro is a not quite full, right? I mean, it's not like the most powerful Espinosa cigar, but is there something for a novice smoker that is at a Guy Fieri restaurant in you have a humidor there and it's on the menu and you're pairing up with drinks, you're pairing up with dishes. There's a patio friendly, you're in Vegas, whatever it might be. But that would be the next step in my mind, is that he takes this as like, hey, I need more at my restaurants.
Yeah.
I need to have this. Is that if you're at a guy restaurant, right now you have this cigar aspect.
Right.
You got smoked cocktails. You do all the stuff that everyone's already doing, right? So you can do that with a brand specific type of thing. But with the topic that you brought up of kicking stigmas, you had this account. Where are they at? Milwaukee,
downtown Milwaukee.
So what is as close as you can to verbatim? What do they say to you about this blend?
Exactly what I said the first time. It was, he goes, dude, I've smoked a lot of, these types of cigars that are, with celebrities backing them and stuff like that.
Correct. How does it compare to other cigars?
He said it's
not other celebrity endorsed cigars, other cigars.
Oh, he said it's a fantastic cigar.
There you go.
Yeah. And wait with that, and that's the beginning of it.
So how do you kick that stigma? You're going into this is that they already know this. You come in as a salesperson on that side of the industry, not only talking about the consumer side, but for you to walk in and be like, hey, I got this new cigar, and it's the Erik and Guy are in it together, is like, how do you get past that? Like the stigma that you're talking about. You have some other celebrities in this industry. You have it in the bourbon side of it. We're not even talking about other industries.
Right. Yeah.
Not even talking about other stigmas that can be something like, I remember when I was looking it up in front of you, like, when I said
the Venn diagram,
there's Venn diagrams about all this shit, right? First thing that comes up is like COVID-19 stigmas and how to get past it. I'm like, oh my God, like
we're not diving into that.
All right, here we go. COVID-19. No, you're absolutely right. No, we might, but that's later in the evening.
It's later in the evening.
Let's hold that in the reserves.
We got a curfew tonight.
Yeah, we do have a curfew tonight, which we should every Wednesday. But
might be a good idea.
Going into that, you brought this up. Kicking stigmas is that you look at this is that when you have a celebrity endorsed thing, we talked about this. I think we've had some of these on here. I'm not going to talk bad about anything right now, but it's like you've had some of these. We featured on this on the bourbon side, Redneck Riviera. That's John Rich from Big and Rich. You've had Heaven's Door, which is Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
That question that Ray
really,
Cheshire,
that's Bob Dylan.
Heaven's Door, knocking on Heaven's Door.
Yeah.
There you go. So you have that stuff. You have, Guy that's doing the Santo. You have The Rock doing Terramana. You have
we had Cabo Wabo last year on
which
Kevin Sammy sold that, so he's not
sold that. Now he's a part of Santo.
Yeah.
So, but I'm saying like you have these.
Kevin Hart's got tequila now. Mark Wahlberg's got tequila now.
Michael Jordan and like five other owners of the NBA teams has that.
Ryan Reynolds has Aviation Gin,
which I love those back and forth with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds on that. Well, that's how you kick a stigma. Is that you just fucking make fun of yourself.
Right. Yeah.
But to you, like, I want to know, like you brought this up and I like that, is that kicking stigmas is like, you can have that celebrity endorsement. You can have that, like you walk in, this is very surface level stuff before, if we dive into deeper stuff, we can. If we keep it surface level, that's fine. But if you have that, it's like, this is a celebrity endorsed cigar. This is a celebrity endorsed bourbon. This is a, celebrity endorsed health product, whatever it might be. How hard do they have to work? They have to bring the doctor on, you know what I mean? For those like health supplements. It's like this actor, this actress, this is their thing. Their name's not on it, just like this.
Right.
But they're the one pushing it.
Yeah.
Do I care what they have to think about that? You know what I mean? They're Hollywood. Like,
right. Yeah.
Is this really what makes them who they are?
Right.
But this is old fat loss pills. This is everything. You know what I mean? This is what gets you to be like me. That's the celebrity endorsement. I don't think that this is quite the same because guys like, I really enjoy this.
Right.
But there is that stigma you're talking about, which is a negative like connotation a lot of times.
It starts with it actually being a great product in the first place. And it's the fact that I could go in and sell this cigar and probably not tell anyone that has anything to do with Guy Fieri, and it's still going to be a great cigar. But the fact that Guy Fieri's a part of it, it helps it. I would almost rather people try it, not even knowing that Guy Fieri's a part of it. And then I could tell them after the fact, I'm like, yeah, he's 50-50 partners with us in this brand. Like, and honestly, half the time I tell people, I'm like, whenever I tell someone about this brand or whatever, retailers wise, and I'm like, hey, we have this new product that we're making out of AJ. It's a fantastic cigar. Here's a sample of it. By the way, Guy Fieri's 50-50 partners with us in it.
Why do you think there's a negative stigma with like a celebrity like Guy, possibly in your experience? What is
with him specifically?
Let's start with that. Yeah. Why do you think if you walked in, you're telling consumers out there right now, like say first part, we did this differently. Hey, tonight I'm going to be we're going to be featuring a cigar that is a Guy Fieri cigar.
Mhm.
Espinosa's making it. That's how we worded it. What is the negative? What not negative because stigma is. What's the stigma there? What's going to turn people off?
The fact that people that have hung around our business long enough and consumers that have been educated enough in our business, that, you know, those cigars kind of come and go. And I think that they need, and I think they need to have a example of something that's not going to come and go and something that's going to stay around for a while. And people shouldn't be afraid of that it's just they're going to be like, okay, like the first thing they hear is like, okay, this is going to be like every other one that has, you know, had its time or, you know, it did its thing and then it's not going to be available. Like, so why should I fall in love with it? And then I'm going to tell them, first off, it is a phenomenal cigar. It smokes beautifully, burns great. I mean, this Maduro is burning like razor sharp.
It is.
And it's just
is that because of Guy?
That's because we're making it.
And that's why Guy teamed up with you.
Exactly.
And he knows Erik.
Right.
But it is a little
because
bit
we have that
like,
trust with him.
If I'm going to get, you know, personal with this, is that as someone that is a very small subculture of the world of America, what the hell does this food guy know about cigars? Does Guy even smoke cigars? I've never seen him smoke a cigar. Like, why would I, like, if you led with that, right? So that's the whole thing. You know what I mean?
So if someone came up and said that to me, I'd be like, well, if you actually look at, his social media and stuff like that, he has been, seen smoking cigars. And since we've started working with him, yeah, the dude smokes all the time. He smokes in Jack told me a story about how they walked into some hotel down in Miami and he had a cigar in his mouth. And you can't smoke in a hotel, right? Just walking around a lobby or something like that.
I heard the same story about Ditka.
And no one told him, hey sir, can you put that out? Like, and they just let him do his thing because it's him.
So that's the whole thing. Kicking stigmas is like that whole part of it. Like, does Bob Dylan drink whiskey? Or is this a business venture? Like, these are those types of things. Like,
but the thing is, it's an authentic business venture. And that's what I gotta tell people is that it's
business standpoint, yes.
Yeah. But even on a down to earth, like keeping it real, he's a very big cigar smoker. He started smoking cigars when he was at UNLV when he was in college.
That's the story that people need to know about.
Of course. And then
that's where you branch out on.
When he ended up moving to California, he ended up finding a place in LA where called Churchill's, I believe is the name of the place. And he ended up becoming a regular there, hearing all the old school guys, talking about cigars that they used to smoke back in the day or their normal day-to-day BS and stuff like that. No pun intended.
It'd be fine. Thanks for the plug.
Yeah, absolutely.
BS Cigar Company right here.
Try the BS Silver. It's
Silver made by Espinosa Cigars, and there's also a nice
button.
Buyjack.com/bourbon and BS. You can get your own BS.
Remember if you're a member of Patreon, you get a discount on
Jesus Christ. What do these guys know about cigars? I don't know. I can do it for every day.
Right.
Pays my bills.
Pays the bills. But it's telling stories like that. It's about talking about his life in the cigar culture, which if I did believe correctly, that was my first podcast actually on here, was talking about the cigar culture.
Yeah.
And just how I endured it and how it, and ultimately now has led me up to this career change from being, an Air Force cop.
You were doing this on your own though.
To, being now the Midwest sales rep for a great family-owned company. Absolutely.
I just look at this kicking stigmas is that you have those celebrities. There are people.
I don't understand how it doesn't work. And I honestly,
because there's enough people that mess it up.
Right. I think it's right.
Like I brought up earlier, I think it works initially for a short burst.
Right.
But I think in a lot of times, the cigars aren't good enough to hold traction long term, or there's not enough push with that celebrity that actually keeps it going long term. There's more of that just initial burst, like, hey, here's a new thing we're doing, and then it just kind of dies off and fizzles out.
Right, and because they don't get seen with the cigar ever again, and they don't do their part. So this whole thing, what's going to make it successful at the end of the day is us keeping production there, us keeping the cigars consistent, and everybody doing their part to make this a successful brand. And knock on wood, or that's fucking plastic. There you go, wooden chair, beautiful.
That's a vintage chair.
A vintage
Grandma
chair.
Crane's chair right
That's
there.
right.
Beautiful, I love it.
Older than you.
I don't doubt it.
Oh, for sure it is.
These chairs are
It might
probably
be as old- it might be older than you.
It is older than me, actually. Yeah, truth be told, yes, it absolutely is. It's older than anyone in the garage, actually.
Right. Even Sean?
Sean, were you born in 1960? Yeah, these chairs are older.
Attaboy.
Vintage. You can find them at West Elm, I think, right now.
or in a cul-de-sac in Columbus. No.
What's that place that was Wayfair? You find them at Wayfair.
Wayfair, you can find them. Facebook Marketplace, probably, an estate sale. I look at this is that, it's all about identity, right? That's the stigmas, right? So I think it's getting past whoever's viewing this, right? This goes to the cigars, the hobby, the enthusiastic part of your life, right? So more than they do. If you don't have, like, you look at cigars, right? Michael Jordan has identified with cigars. So if he's
The
smoking,
Last Dance, like, proved,
if he's smoking cigars, there is this fan thing of it. But even if you're not a fan of Michael Jordan, like you were talking about with, like, the Boston thing and New England and all this stuff, is that, but if you have someone like, you might outbuy him because you're a fan of the other team.
right.
But if you're an enthusiast in the cigar world, if you're an enthusiast in the whiskey world, if you're an enthusiast in the fashion, Jordan's a great example of the fact that it's like, even if you're not a Bulls fan, it has now,
It's transcended sports.
It's transcended. It transcended the teams.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's just athletics. That's where I look at what you've done with Guy. Part of it is that, yes, he's a food guy. He's the Food Network. He's the chef. He's all that stuff. He's a celebrity. If you don't like Guy, you're not going to buy the cigar. If you know about that,
Right.
There's nothing you can do about that. That's the con of being that level of a celebrity.
Yeah.
Right. If you don't like that, you buy from people you like. So if you don't like that person, you're not going to buy that.
Right.
But the credibility of it is he a cigar guy?
Right. And telling his story is a huge part of keeping
it's keeping that communication open
Right.
as to why you should buy from that person. It's like, does he know about cigars? Great. If you like cigars, you're going to buy from him. If you had a bad experience with Guy, or you don't like his food, you were at a restaurant one time, you didn't like that restaurant, and he has a cigar, you're like, oh, this is Guy Fieri. He's like, fuck that guy. That's going to happen. It's just going to happen.
That's
Same thing with Erik. Same thing with you, Tyler. Like, there's all different levels of this. Is that it's a stigma that you carry in, is that you have to conduct yourself to a certain level where you get past that. And this has so many layers of that.
the richest man in the world might be one of the most criticized people, like, right now in the world.
Well, yeah.
Elon.
Right.
You got Elon. You had Jeff Bezos. We saw
Right.
that in, like, Seattle. Like, you saw that stuff in the
What Johnny Depp went through. I mean, that's a perfect example right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
And
how,
it's
how
like,
successful of an I mean, he's easily a top 5 generational actor of our time.
You're getting me started. I don't want to do this.
Easy.
But that guy went
Easy rod. Easy rod.
But yeah, I mean, it's super successful people are not always going to be like the most beloved people in the world.
Kicking stigmas. I think that the stigma is there for multiple reasons. But I mean, again, I'm not going to. You said Johnny Depp thing. It is actually relevant to the sense that at a service level is that if you have preconceived notions or you have this agenda, not saying in a negative way, but an agenda of what you're fighting for.
Yeah.
If it goes against what you actually believe, I think that's the stigma, right?
Yeah.
If you look down on service people, right? Someone comes out to fix something at your house.
Yeah.
You can't do it. You're hiring them, but you do something else for a living and you make a shit ton of money, right?
Right.
And this person comes in, The movie Overboard. You ever seen that? The original
Oh,
one,
yes.
not the bullshit one with Anna Faris. I'm talking about Kurt Russell, Goldie Hawn.
Yes.
Right,
Love
so
that
Goldie Hawn. I think
80s
that
movie
was
long before Tyler.
That was a stigma thing, right? So
Yeah.
I'm trying to frame this to try to explain this without offending too many people.
Right.
But it's one of those things is that you have a rich person that hires a carpenter to do something on their yacht.
Yeah.
And it's an 80s movie, but I think that it does actually apply here is that, Goldie Hawn, they ended up marrying like, real life, but in the movie, Goldie Hawn was this rich person that looked down on this carpenter that for a living, they do this like, oh my God.
And Kurt Russell was the carpenter.
He was the carpenter, right? So
kind of like the opposite of Pretty Woman, isn't it?
Smells, yeah, a little bit, right? So, but like Smells does this, and he does something that actually really works because he's an expert at his craft.
Yeah.
And she looks down on it, and she's like just triggered before triggered.
She didn't like the type of wood he used.
Right. So
even though he probably knows
throughout all that movie, she falls off the boat, has amnesia, ends up falling in love with Kurt Russell because Kurt Russell
because he kidnaps her.
It's my God. I mean, if we're picking apart Overboard, I'm just trying to make a point here. Jesus Christ. Like, I mean, all right, it's not your methods. My point is that there's a stigma there of people based on profession, based on class, based on what they know. But I think kicking stigmas is absolutely first and foremost, if you have a stigma towards something or people have that, it's based on their perspective.
Right. Yeah.
Their scope. Right. So you can go from that scenario in the movie. You can go from Guy Fieri, whatever. I don't like him. He doesn't smoke cigars. He's a food guy. Why would I buy a cigar? The whiskeys, like all that stuff, the health products, I love the fact that George Foreman sold the shit out of like these grills that were supposed to make you healthy. And George Foreman was not a lean fighter.
No,
he's really.
What did the George Foreman grill promote?
Lean, mean grilling machine.
Lean, mean grilling machine. When was the last time, if you scroll back all the footage, when did George Foreman have a six-pack?
I don't think
I'll wait.
I'll wait.
He sold the shit out of those grills.
Right. Yeah.
Why? He's likable.
Right.
He's fun.
George Foreman.
I mean, are you kidding me?
Foreman.
He kicked the stigma.
Yeah.
Did he eat off of a grill that was lean as shit? Bullshit. He's a Babe Ruth of boxing.
I thought that was Butterbean.
No, Babe Ruth and George Foreman up here. Butterbean had his day. That's it. And then he got his ass kicked because he's fat. He's not a pro athlete. He's a novelty. And that's where I think that thank you for bringing that up. That is the same thing with a lot of these celebrity endorsements of the kicking the stigmas.
Yeah.
You don't smoke cigars. You smoke shit cigars. You don't even, I see you drinking whiskey. Are you drinking yours? You are now because you have your name on it.
Yeah.
But if I actually hung out with you, would you drink your whiskey? Would you smoke your cigars and then be like, I got some Cubans back here if you want to smoke those?
But that's the cool thing about that. I can tell people, right, that like Guy Fieri was smoking our cigars before he even had a cigar that we made him. Like there was a picture that surfaced like 2 years ago, probably when him and Erik first met, and he was smoking a 601 Blue, and he got a picture with Erik with him holding up a 601 Blue, like right in the picture.
I brought one of those.
601 Blue,
beautiful cigar.
Yeah. Beautiful cigar.
You brought some?
I brought one.
Oh, one. Yeah,
one.
Cool.
Well,
the rep could have brought some too.
My case only holds 3 cigars. I brought 2 BSs and a 601 Blue.
There you go. Attaboy.
I love Tyler in this industry because he knows he already has supporters, right? Ask Tyler the last time he gave me a sample cigar.
Today?
Well, all right. Beyond today.
I was about to say,
last time no.
Nate, turn your mic off real quick. I gotta talk to Tyler. Don't turn your mic off. Jesus Christ. But so Jake.
So how do we kick the stigma? Like, we're talking about this particular cigar or other whiskey brand. How do you kick that? Because I mean, Jake brought up the question about cigar stigmas, and I'd actually already written down a couple that popped in my head.
So
like,
the last comment that
he
Jake
brings up a
just
couple
made.
things.
Yeah.
So he brought up the one, I put up a different one. How do you kick the stigma on smoking cigars? How do you kick the stigma on being younger? Means you have no experience selling / smoking cigars. There's a lot of layers to that. Not only if you're in the industry like Jake is, he was the co-founder of this podcast.
Correct.
He is the manager, GM of Burn by Rocky Patel in Indiana.
Yep. Indianapolis.
Indy. But
Naptown.
he's
I don't know why they call it Naptown. It's a
I
dumb
don't
nickname.
like it. I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
But it's one of those things. Like there is a stigma. So let's dive in a little bit deeper on that.
That's a great stigma. I had to deal with that.
Smoking cigars, and now you have Tyler at 20, soon to be 25.
Soon, less than a month.
You're 24 years old.
A month from the day, right?
And Jake being younger
Shit,
in this is that you're young, so there's another stigma. Let's
Right,
branch
yeah,
off of this, right?
course.
So now you're a professional in an industry, no matter what it is,
Mhm.
cigars. And Nate, you can dive into the cigar side of it a little bit more if you want to, but I'm saying there's a stigma based on your age.
Right.
There's a stigma based on your sex. There's a stigma based on your race. There's a stigma based on all these things. I put it in the description. There's a bit of a first impression side of this.
Mhm.
And, like you were joking a little bit, Tyler, that I had to look up the definition of stigma. No, it was like I wanted to look up the definition of it because does it bring up the first impression side of it?
Yeah.
Because I think there is a stigma, especially in the day and age we're in, is that based on the first impression, the surface level things,
Yeah.
sex, gender, however you want to define it, your race, your age, your profession, all of these things are, in my opinion, are very much to the certain people that are employing you, the people that are going to you for a certain service or an opinion, that the stigma, the qualifiers are very, very much first impression type of a thing.
Yeah.
Once you get to know someone, then all those stigmas, if you open yourself up, they will release a little bit.
Yeah.
They'll walk away from it. So to Jake's point is how do you kick the stigma on being younger in his industry or any other industry?
So
Is that the normal thing is like, I'm older than you, I know more than you.
right. And there was, and I'll speak to his question specifically. Me being, I was working retail. I was
Keep talking. We're talking.
yeah.
Literally.
So when literally, and so like when I first started in the retail end of the industry, right? I was still in the Air Force. I had the clean shaven face, the baby face going.
Well, that's another one.
Like, and I'm like, if I was, like, hey, do you need any help with anything? Do you need any recommendations or anything like that? I can't imagine how many people like looked at me and was like, "The hell does this kid know?" type deal. Like he's like, I've been smoking cigars longer than you've been alive type shit, right? And I had to, at that point, I had to be respectful of that thought because I could very well see someone's, thought on that. But at the same time, I had to, it was like my opportunity to shine and my opportunity to, really show a little bit of humbleness and, just give people my personal, but I had to show people I knew what I was talking about. And especially when it came to like the regulars at that shop, that I took it I was very honored to be a guy in Ohio as a young dude who people respected as a young guy who knew a thing or two about cigars. I was completely honored to have that kind of reputation.
You
and
put the work in though.
But I put the work in, I put the time in to actually prove myself to people that I know what I'm talking about. I know what people have profile wise, and I can match someone up with something. Yeah, this is something that might be different for you, but I think this might provide you a great smoking experience. In that 1 or 2 days, I worked at that lounge a week. I would have people coming in on a regular basis, be like, all right, what am I smoking today, Tyler? Because I got their trust.
Mhm.
Because I proved to them that I was young, humble, but I knew my shit. And I took pride in that. And I never wanted to just sell some guy something because we've been sitting on this product forever, and you know, it was just something we needed to move. No, I was the last guy you're gonna get caught seeing that. And honestly, as a business owner, maybe I'd be like, oh, you need to push some of this a little bit because we've been sitting on it forever. I'm like, no. If I find a guy who I know that cigar is gonna fit with, yeah, I'll recommend it. But
long term, you win if you gain the trust.
of course. And thank God, like I got my event tomorrow at Stogie Smoke Stop in Huber Heights, or Espinosa Brandon Lounge over there, and I'm going to see.
Cheers to Robbie.
Absolutely. And I got to credit him with a lot of my the opportunities I've got was because he let a young kid sit in a bunch of, you know, interactions with people in the industry that I probably had no business sitting in on, but he recognized a young kid that had passion and really wanted to be a part of this industry that he let me, you know,
let me ask you this.
I'll probably embark in some talks that, you know, I probably had no business in.
Let me ask you this though. So you meet you as a cigar rep, or 24, soon to be 25, when you're 24 years old.
Yeah, sure.
And you can comment on the Bourbon and BS page or the community page when you're 25 as a 25-year-old if you want to.
Will do.
When you threw in the fact that you have military experience, how does that change things? You've had that conversation before.
Yeah.
You haven't told me. I just assume you have.
Yeah.
Just in everything, business, personal. You're a 25-year-old that enjoys life, 24-year-old that enjoys life, and you are living your best life.
Trying, at least.
Well, social media, everything else, right? But I will say that there is, at this point, you don't talk about your experience, not because you're ashamed of it or because but military background at this point.
Yeah.
Young age. You're trying to be you now.
Yeah.
And is there a qualifier? Again, kicking stigmas, being a 24, soon to be 25-year-old in a cigar industry, you're on the road salesperson. That's one thing. But being someone that is also a military background, you've done what you've done.
Right.
To kick a stigma, do you have to absolutely bring out your resume to qualify yourself to someone? And is it worth it? Because I have a feeling that you have had this experience before. When someone is saying, like, what do you know about like this in life? What do you know about life? What do you know about cigars? What do you know about just life in general? And you can say, well, I served this, and I've done this. I've worked at this. My family is this.
Yeah, you just build up.
Do things change when you have to roll out your resume of a fucking individual?
I don't think it does. I think it's a valid point. I think it's a valid
Have you done
point
it
from someone. Luckily, I really haven't. But I think that's based on like relationships I helped build myself. And like I said, I built a reputation for myself that a lot of people to work for Espinosa. Do you think I didn't send in a resume to work for Espinosa?
They already knew your resume. Charlie says
Right.
Thank you for your service, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Proud to do it. But my resume was what people already knew about me. My resume. You
live it.
Yeah. Yeah. I live my resume on a daily basis, and I don't need to have, listen, I think, as a young person, I think, in a lot of ways, if I have to pull out my resume to really prove to someone that I'm qualified for something, that person doesn't know jack shit about me. And to be fair, maybe some of them don't, but
I think one of the reasons,
but I think there's something to be said for when you have an opportunity and you don't even have to flash a resume at someone. That really speaks for who you are and what kind of person you've built yourself as.
I think also there are a lot of experiences and knowledge that
a resume won't show.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's a ton of stuff that I could divulge in that a resume wouldn't be able to speak for me directly. Like I can talk about my 2-week trip to Nicaragua just by itself that I took when I went down there by myself, actually, and like just like experienced Nicaragua for what it was on the tobacco side. And I think if anyone's ever heard that, they could be like, okay, yeah, this kid went down to Nicaragua for 2 weeks and just like absorbed everything that he could find.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that speaks more to me than any resume could speak for.
All right, so we got some,
and then the stories I could tell about it, like I can go on and on and on about that.
But I love that. So Tim out there, he commented on YouTube. We've commented on this about the fact that like YouTube love having you on, and I'm trying to monitor the comments, but again, my vision is not that great all the time on a laptop in front of me. Got the right contact.
6 feet away. Yeah.
All right. Well, you can have the mouse next time.
No.
I'm just also saying that more whiskey. I mean, the
9-point font does not read very well 6 feet away
as well.
Can I see that water, please, sir?
Yeah. We can have some water, I guess. If we want to add that to the mix. I put 2 drops.
Yeah.
In the whiskey.
Try that whiskey now, because I told Steve to do that, and Steve's like, I'm going to do this Tyler now.
It's real nice. All right, so Tim says, and I think this is
just like pick up like immensely for you,
and there's less of that burn at the
right. Well, obviously, you
all right. So Tim says, and he is, YouTube listener, devil's advocate. Military service is a solid qualifier when it comes to someone I'd like working for me. However, it doesn't carry much value in my mind if I'm looking for specific knowledge on a product such as cigars or whiskey.
No, but that's just something that you can use as like a testament to like how much you could possibly know about cigars and whiskey is based on the fact that, obviously if you're in the military, you got to be a hard worker, and you got to have
work ethic that shows.
It's the work ethic that shows in that. And then you pair it with the fact that you tell someone, yeah, I might know a thing or two, or, something like that, try and still stay, show the humbleness and stuff like that. But yeah, you don't be afraid to tell someone, yeah, I kind of know what I can help you with and stuff like that. And
I'll say this to Tim is you're absolutely right.
He's very right.
Tim, if you're hiring someone, there's something that in my previous career is that if on a resume, if I'm interviewing someone, that they are an Eagle Scout. That
would be on my resume.
That makes sense. Absolutely. Jake says his testament of work ethic, just like college athletes. So you would hire that person most likely based on what their experience is. If they're younger, this is someone that obviously wants to work hard. To your point, obviously, as someone that is looking at this very, very literally, I would say this, Tim, absolutely. Same thing as a celebrity. They have been successful at certain things in their life. What the fuck do they know about what I am interested in, and what am I spending my hard-earned money on that right. Tyler brought up? That's the qualifier. As someone that you're hiring or someone that you admire, if they have the experience, if it's being in the military, being a college athlete, you could have a Army Ranger, Navy SEAL, whatever it is, right? You have all that. It's elite level. You'd like to think that they take that mindset on what they're endorsing.
Right. Yeah.
But as a cautious consumer, kicking stigmas, if it's unrelated, you still want to try it. Like, they may not know what the fuck they're talking about. But if they've gained that celebrity status, if they've gained that, if the fact that they are, so same thing goes with, I'm gonna diverge this a little bit, is that cigars are a luxury product for the most part.
Yep.
From a stigma standpoint.
Right. Oh yeah. Everybody thinks we roll up $100 bills and light cigars, right?
Having an elaborate bar. This is mahogany walls. This is rich leather.
You think you could drink a gin martini? This guy's James Bond, right?
Yeah, you have a first-class ticket on the Titanic right now, right? But you have done things that people have told you. So that's, in my opinion, I agree with what Tim's saying. There is a disconnect. The only thing I can say about someone that has worked their way up, like an Erik Espinosa in the industry, there's someone that has worked their way up in the whiskey side of it. There's someone that, what I say about a cigar, what I say about a bourbon, I'm not the most qualified. All I know
wouldn't
is
say
that
I am.
what
I don't know anything about blowing
all I
cigars.
know is that I have put in the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, joking aside, it's not the fact that I've drank a lot of whiskey, smoked a lot of cigars. That is part of it. That's relevant, but it's also irrelevant. It's that you identify with me.
Right.
Doing this podcast, doing this, if you come in the shop, if you like the people, you trust the people, you give them a chance.
Right.
That kicking Stigmas, if you smoke this Knuckle sandwich Maduro that we're smoking right now, you smoke the Habano. If you give it a chance and you really like it, you think if Guy puts out and Erik puts out another, like a Connecticut, I don't like Connecticut's, but they put out a limited release,
right,
that this is a Knuckle sandwich small batch,
yeah,
and you gave them a chance.
that's a good idea, actually.
I
Small
know,
batch.
right?
That's a good one,
You
Craig.
have like a lot of like.
There you go. We might be on to something.
You
here.
can send the royalty checks to this address.
So, Jesus Christ, it is a good idea. I agree. I mean, I came up with it. I'm just saying is that it would be that's how you branch out. You get people to buy in. Kicking Stigmas is that you get to know people.
Right.
That's why I look at this, is that there are stigmas, and I'm not going to bring up the Venn diagrams, but it is that whole thing. I brought up the overboard thing. It's the first impressions. I was shocked that when I pulled up the stigma definition, it's all this negative connotation based on this, and this, and I'm like, in today's world, it's the fact that you go off of first impressions.
Right.
It's literally all that shit. What car do you drive? What'd you pull up in? What color is your skin? What gender are you? What do you do for a living?
Right.
It's literally like qualifying you for a first date. It's that, like, to me, it's like there are so many bigger stigmas.
What's a great example of that is the movie Crash. Have you ever seen that? That's probably the most uncomfortable movie I've ever watched.
There's nothing new here. That's the biggest part of that part of it.
Right.
That was years ago.
Right.
I look at it as the fact that, like, in this country, and I'm not going to say you're right or wrong, but it's like there was a point that it depends on what flag you put out in front of your house. That's how people judge you. They don't care about who you are or why you did that.
Right.
It's not why you put out a cigar or why you did that. It's the fact that it's like you did what you're doing. You make enough money doing what you're doing. Why would I buy something from you? I don't want to do that. You put up a flag in your front yard. I know who you are. I'm going to support you. It's all stigmas.
Yeah.
The goal is to get to know the people, and why you get to know the people. You don't have to get to know everyone, but I look at it as like, if you're listening to this podcast, I love the fact that it's like, you don't always agree with what I have to say or Nate has to say or our guest has to say.
Right.
It's fine. You might smoke the cigar that we gave a 9 across the board, and you smoke that and you say, this is shit. But know that if you listen to us week after week, we're giving our honest opinion based on what we're smoking, what we're drinking, what we're doing, what we say. That's the part 2.
Right.
It's also based on what we like and our experiences.
But my point is that yes, at a surface level, yes, but you get to know us. That's the part 2. If you don't like us as a part 2, but you like the part 1, buy more of that. But if you're questionable on some of these things, it's like, I question the people that listen to us or watch a show or do something that they just are constantly feeding into that. That whole thing is I watch a program on Hulu or Netflix, whatever it might be, or TV. Same program is dating me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. Program.
But you keep doing it because you're dialed in.
Yeah.
I look at kicking stigmas as something that you can actually, you're you are putting the effort into qualifying the source as opposed to just looking at the stigma.
So I kind of had it reminds me of some of the experiences I've had working at the Tinderbox. There's
Here we go.
No. There's a particular customer that I won't mention, but Steve, you'll know who I'm talking about.
Do not.
When I first started working at the Tinderbox,
Tyler Jones. Yeah. Kind of a dick.
No.
Had my moments.
When I first started working at Tinderbox, there was a particular customer that when they would come in and, say whoever else I was working with was busy with other customers, they would wait until one of those other employees were available. They didn't want me recommending cigars to me. They didn't want me recommending cigars to them.
Yeah, but that's just because that guy trusts the other guy. And why shouldn't he?
Exactly. Well, then all of a sudden a situation came up to where those people that customer normally goes to weren't available.
Right.
And so that person had to default to me.
Yeah.
And so then I started making recommendations, and I started recommending cigars that person actually really enjoyed. And now it's kind of reversed, where if there are other employees at the shop, that customer will wait until I'm available.
Yeah.
But that's only because
it comes and goes in waves. Almost.
It came from experience and successes of actually recommending the right product. There was one where that same customer was trying to remember a particular cigar that we used to carry that they absolutely loved. And, Steve tried for like 10, 15 minutes to try and figure out what the cigar was. And he just couldn't remember, because the Tinderbox, there are so many cigars that come and go.
Yeah.
And then finally, I started asking certain questions, and I finally nailed down what cigar that person was looking for.
Yeah.
And that person immediately gained a whole new level of respect for me.
Right.
Disrespect for me. It's one of those things that, I deal with on a daily basis that,
Crane, you never get disrespected, pal.
I'm old news, Tyler.
Your own news.
You being 24, soon to be 25, as you made very clear, and Nate being younger than me, it's like, I'm old news. It's fine. It's the up and comers of the industry. My jump shot's not the same as it once was.
I think
my ankles are sore when I wake up in the morning.
This is Toby Keith.
I had a great.
He was good as how once was.
One of my
when we were in Vegas, Brian and I, hold that thought. Brian and I were in. We went to Toby Keith's bar at Harris.
I didn't know he had a bar there.
Oh, yeah, he has a bar there.
Is he still?
I haven't been there in 6 years, 7 years, but
I need to find out. Love Toby Keith.
It's just big screens here and there, and they're all playing
Toby Keith music,
all like 90s, late 90s and all that stuff. And side story is doesn't apply here, but we were there, but they played that song. Not as good as I once was.
Yeah.
What
a heater of a song.
Nate's bringing up, and we're sitting at the bar. We're having a couple beers, and we have a guy bartender, and super personable, super nice. And we look over at the hostess stand, and they're wearing chaps. I'm like, that's Vegas.
Yeah, it's Vegas for you.
And you look back, and servers are also wearing chaps. And why aren't we sitting at a table right now? We got Chet over here serving us drinks.
Chet.
But I tell you what, to your point, Nate, is that there's a certain point you get comfortable with the fact that you know what you know, and you're continually. I look at it as it's the stigma. There's another stigma. I'm not trying to open this up to another hour of conversation, but you're not the young gun of the conversation. You're not the up and comer. You transition. You covered very well. But there is a certain point that it's very interesting that I want to bring this up, is that there is, like what Jake brought up, or the newcomer of the conversation, like a Guy Fieri.
Right.
and Erik.
Someone who hasn't had any
They're the
impact
up
in
and
the
comer.
business. Yeah.
So now all of a sudden you have these people that have been in the game. How do they stay relevant?
Yeah.
Because the stigma is you've been in this game for so long that you don't know what's going on right now. that is a valid aspect of it. Like what you brought up, Nate, and I'm joking. It was an experience. But the fact that I'm looking up the "How Do You Like Me Now" video with, Toby Keith, it was a great thing. Every time I hear a Toby Keith song, "How Do You Like Me Now?" or "I'm Not As Good As I Once Was," and as I get older, fuck you, Tyler. It's the fact that it's like, how do you stay relevant? Because there's a stigma to people that have been in the game for a long time.
Yeah.
It's the other side of it, right? Yeah, you knew that, but there's this new cigar Guy Fieri came out with Erik Espinosa.
Mm-hmm.
You probably haven't smoked it, but like, do you have it? Same thing.
Right.
It's the other side of it, is that I look at the whole thing with kicking stigmas is that it's age, it's sex, it's race, it's experience, it's everything.
Yeah.
And there's so many sides of it. Gender, it's sex, it's everything. It's like we had Ashley on recently on the podcast, Ash with Ash, and we have another episode that we're gonna do for her coming up
on Sunday. Yeah.
But it's like it's all encompassing. It really is all these levels of the fact that it's like, oh yeah, well of course about like these cigars, like keep it with that, these bourbons, because you're this type of a person, whatever your qualifications are, but you've been in this for a long time. But I'm younger and I'm more progressive. You're more traditional.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get past that? That's what I want to put to you guys and to you in the audience, if while you're still listening, and Sean, you too, is like, how do you deal with that? Sean's, you have a kid.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things that I really think that when we're kicking stigmas is that I really want to for the moment, but while we round this out, is bring it back, taking in consideration of the fact that it's like age, gender, sex, race, knowledge, experience, time, everything. Like, is a stigma a first impression or just an impression, and how do you kick it in everything? Because that's what we deal with all the time. I've been in this industry, in the cigar side of it, for 10 years.
Yeah.
Me too.
When I was a 30-year-old, 31-year-old, I didn't have the gray in the beard. It was just like the whole thing, right? It's like, yeah, this guy's into it. You know what I mean? Now, this guy's into it. He knows what he's talking about. We talked about that on the podcast before, and I've dealt with it. It's like, oh, you must be the owner. It's like, no, I work for this guy who's like a friend of mine. Like, all of these things, it's like it's constant.
Right.
But I also managed people when I was 22 that were 35 and 40. And it's like, what the fuck do you know about this?
Right. Yeah.
It's this is a constant struggle with, like, how, when you say, like, you brought it up, Tyler, kicking stigmas. How do you keep a level playing field? Or at the very least, how do you prove yourself without stressing out the fact that no one believes in you?
You gotta have the chip on your shoulder kind of mentality, but you can't let that,
to a point.
You can't let that overwhelm you. And you got to be able to, just my personal experience on, being a younger guy in the cigar game and stuff like that.
I want to interview you in 10 years from now, man.
Like it was, it was something like being able to, like when I was talking about, like guys, you know, gain my trust and stuff like that. And they asked me when I was working at a shop. That was happening before I even was a fucking employee at that shop. There's people working there that knew things about cigars.
Jake says I need a drink.
There's
Get
people that were.
Can I get one?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Jake
Do you have
says that
whiskey
a lot.
left?
And there was a you know, there was two people. There was the owner of the shop there, and then the employee of the shop there. But there was still some people that decided, "Oh, fuck that! I'm gonna ask Tyler." You know, while I'm sitting there playing dominoes or whatever.
Why? Why do they ask you?
Because they trusted me, and they ended up like they were like, okay, Tyler kind of, you know, has a good, you know, rap on what's going on and stuff like that. And he always seems like he's smoking really good stuff. And he always talks about how good the cigars he smokes are, not in a cocky way or anything like, yeah, I smoked Davidoff fucking, you know, Special R or whatever. But it's the fact that I'm like, dude, this is such a really good cigar. I got excited about.
Why did you say it? I'm really. Why did you tell them that?
What why did I tell them that it was such a good cigar? Because I was passionate for it. And people saw the passion I had for it, and they trusted me because I had the passion and the fact that I was like, yeah, I think this is an absolutely banging cigar.
Were you selling just to sell?
No, I was selling.
Why were you selling?
I wasn't even trying to sell.
What were you doing?
I was just talking. I was just talking to dudes, just saying,
What
hey.
were you being?
I was being an influencer to a certain degree without trying to.
You were being personable.
I was being personable. I was being everybody's friend. I was looking out for people.
Trying to look for the word here. What were you being?
I was being myself.
No, don't listen to Sean.
Sean,
I mean,
your
when
mic's
you are
not
being
on.
yourself, what are you being?
authentic
And honest.
and honest. Yeah, of course. If I thought a cigar was, you know, if I didn't like a cigar and I didn't think it fit someone's profile, whether I was working, whether I was a consumer at that point, I would never treat anyone.
Jake
I would
says
never
genuine.
disrespect anyone, because
So
I find
how do you keep?
I find that disrespectful to offer or to give someone advice on a cigar that I don't believe in. That's
So-
why it works for me working for Espinosa works, because I literally can stand behind everything we do.
What's so interesting to me is that the fact that, like, when you didn't have any money beside you were
I had no skin in the game just
You-
selling that
you
guy
were-
cigars.
Air Force,
Yeah.
Reserve,
Active duty.
active duty. You're
I'm not a
MP.
weekend warrior.
He was an MP.
pal.
all right. We're not doing that. All right, I've had some whiskeys. You were Air Force active, but you were MP, right?
Correct.
You know, you were doing part-time at a shop.
At the time I'm talking about, no, I was just a consumer, just hanging out there every day.
But you built your credibility.
Yeah, I'd like.
That's
to
the
think
whole
so.
part of it. I look at this kicking stigmas is that you will have an uphill battle. You will have to do that.
Yeah.
But if you
But I put in the work and the authentic work and the hard work that it took to be respected by not even my peers at the
take
time.
a breath there.
Yeah. To not even be respected by my peers at the time. Like, I wasn't even trying. I was just like I just believed in the shit I talked about.
You were being honest.
Because I was honest and I never bullshitted anyone.
This is why you succeed. This is why you believe in what Erik and Guy has done for that project.
Yeah.
You believe in it. You live it.
Dream about it. I think
Anyone
about
that
it.
doubts you, you don't necessarily have to get every sale or everyone to believe in you.
No,
But
that's
you
crazy to think you're going to get everybody.
Not
to
going
believe you.
to.
No, of course not.
But the fact that that's why I'm grilling you, is the fact that you did all that stuff, and that's who succeeds.
I tried, bro.
You beat stigmas because you believe in it.
Yeah, I believe in myself. I think that's a big part of it. I think if you have the utmost confidence in yourself, and you don't even have to second guess anything, and you're zeroed in on it, it speaks for itself.
100%.
And people will respect it, because that time when I told someone this is a fantastic cigar, you need to try it. And I even talk about what I do now. Just back when I was just doing my thing and just being a passionate young cigar smoker, when I told someone, I'm like, yo, this is a great cigar. You need to try this. People Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I bought a box of cigars, and someone's like, "Oh, you bought a box of cigars?" I'm like, "Yeah, these things are fantastic." And then they're like, "Let me buy one off you."
Yep.
And I'm like, "All right." Then half the box is gone because everybody's like buying them off because
You're
I keep talking.
upset because you can't smoke them. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm like, "Well, I'm at half a box. I guess I got. I guess I just did them a solid."
Well, I told about it. I told that recently when I went to the liquor store at Steve's Kroger up the street. I got to the front of the line and
Victor Van Pelt, what's up, brother? Happy late birthday, my man.
And I asked the guy working the counter. I was like, "Hey, can I get this bottle that's in the locked case there by the counter?" And there's like 6 dudes behind me in line, all with bottles in their hand, waiting to check out.
Yeah.
But as this store associate is unlocking that case to grab that bottle, and it wasn't an expensive bottle. So when I say grab out of the case, this was a $50 bottle, right?
Right. You're not getting a bottle of Macallan M with the crystal, crystal top. And
people know me better than that. But all these people in line, I like as he's getting that bottle for me, I look back at all these other people waiting in line, and they all have this look of curiosity. They're like, what does this guy know that we don't? Like this guy's buying something out of the case here.
Yeah.
Right.
Like what don't I know? Like, do I need to try something out of that case? Like
that's like you. That's like someone like Jake can attest to this.
Sean.
Oh shit.
Okay, sorry. I wanted to. I think you and I have a lot of similarities when it comes to passion. When
You're talking to me?
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was about to say, you keep pointing. Like, who are you pointing to?
You have a lot now. Sorry.
I didn't know if that was the lazy
Tyler,
guy going.
yeah.
No, he has no peripheral. We know
Yeah.
that.
It's
So
not
when I'm looking at
towards
you,
me.
I'm looking at you. I'm not looking over here. Trust me.
My man.
It's the passion though, and I can appreciate that, and I have a lot of similarities when it comes to that. When I believe in something, whether it be cigars or aviation or golf or whatever I love that I'm passionate about, I can sell it, man. I can sell it 110% because
It's not like you're even trying to sell.
it's if you believe in something wholeheartedly and you've done the work, people see it right away. They'll see it in your body language. They'll see it in the way how enthusiastic you are about it. And that's one thing I become for me when I'm passionate about something and I talk about something and I really am. People know it. They know, Jesus, this dude's a little obsessed with it. But that's good because if it ever come to a time where they have a question or they want to come back to that, they can say, well, I remember Sean or Tyler, he was so passionate about what he could do and what he was, all the hard work he put into it. That's the guy I'm going to go to when I have a question about that, whether it's for selling or anything in life in general.
It's one of the reasons why, over the last several years, my wife is kind of
Jess?
God damn it.
Yeah, well,
It's one of the reasons why
sometimes
my
it
wife
happens.
has always pushed me to get back into sales as a full-time gig was regardless of what I was selling, she saw that I had a passion for it.
Yeah.
Like there was a genuine love for what I was trying to sell to people, whether it was cigars or electricity. Like she just saw that there was a natural passion that when you have that natural passion, it rubs off on other people. Like other people notice it. They see the energy that you put out and it makes people want to buy from you.
Oh yeah. And I've been in the industry in aviation for 30 years, but I've done operations. When I've done operations, that's one thing, but now I'm back into sales. So I'm out talking to people every day and I'm promoting my fleet and I'm telling, hey, we got this and we have, all the bells and whistles and it just becomes a matter of it's almost becomes easy. Well, it is easy because if you believe in it, it's not that hard to do. It's hard. Now it is hard to sell something you're not passionate about. You don't believe in.
Shit, bro. I couldn't imagine. Like, I couldn't imagine it. Like that's what I love about working with the company I work for now. Like it doesn't, like when I'm on the road and stuff like that, it's like I don't have to fake anything. It's not like I got to think about it. Like while I'm on the road, like, okay, how am I going to sell this? How am I going to sell that? It's just like I'm blessed in a way where I'm very fortunate to work for a company I've known for years and I've respected for years and I've smoked their cigars for years. And it speaks for itself. And, it was awesome when I was down in Miami for Lozona Palooza, because all those people there are in the same boat. And I just got to
Was that your first Lozona Palooza?
Yeah, that was my first Lozona Palooza. I've been asked to go like the last three years type deal. And I just never worked out schedule wise because the Air Force decided, fuck me on some leave and stuff like that. So that was awesome. Not going to hold that against them whatsoever. Right. But at the same time, it was so awesome just being around that environment, because it was a bunch of people that were, I can't tell you how many people that have watched this throughout the night. Corey Davis, Victor Van Pelt just comments at Lozona Palooza rocks. Like, how many people that are like so excited to go every year because they get to meet other and possibly new people that they haven't met that all love the same thing. And that was the awesome thing. Like, I got to see my boys from Cincinnati, Kevin and Donnie. I got my boys in Indianapolis, my boy in Rockford, Illinois. And I got to meet all kinds of other people. Tyler Jeffrey, who works part-time for Romacraft, and he does some airline work down in Austin, Texas. He was there. Sam and Rosie from Fat Ash Cigars in Arizona. Like, I got over these couple of years, I've got just to meet some great people that all share the same love for the company I work for. Sure. And if it's fulfilling as shit, but it's just awesome to experience it at the same time, because we all just absolutely love what we all are there for at the same time. It's almost indescribable, just that feeling. And that's why I love working for the company I do. Sure. Like, it's just authentic.
So
you got a BS in there for me?
I got a gold if that works.
That works.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sean.
Sean, go ahead and closing remarks.
Okay.
I was going to roll into it.
Thank you, sir.
If
So,
you didn't come back.
Hold back.
I think that what I see in you, Tyler, is I can see you, like, when you're driving up to a store or wherever you're going, you probably are like chomping at the bit to, like, I can't wait to get in there and just intermingle with people and just tell them what preach what you know. And I think that is such an awesome thing that you have, because a lot of people in this life don't. And I'm happy for you. And I think,
thank you, bro.
It's I've known you over the years, and to see you grow. I mean, you've known a lot of shit back then, but to see you grow and how you've come about, and this is just the beginning for you.
I like to think so.
And me being double your age, I know that. So it's just the beginning, and the world's your oyster, and what you've already started now is just going to be nothing but just sky's the limit for you. And just remember me when you're famous. That's all I got.
He's already famous.
I know. I mean, when you're more famous.
He knows you. I mean,
so anyway, I'm proud of you, man. And
thanks,
that's
bro.
all I have to say about that. But I'm proud of you, and you are. You've got you shut up, Steve. Sorry. What? No, I just want to say I'm proud of you.
I don't know why I do this anymore.
I love you. I love you, Steve.
It's all about you, Steve. It's all about you.
You're in my garage.
I know I am. I'm grateful for it.
I am
both
too.
Of you, actually.
All right. That's all. Sorry.
And the people listening are in my garage.
Absolutely. And we're all in here, sharing the same bond and stuff like that. And it's everybody's in here for like a common interest. And that's a beautiful thing. Like, there's not too many things, like maybe like the bourbon community, craft beer community, cigar community, wine community, like all those things, they all have their own niches. And it's awesome when people from, I don't want to be the guy who says the fucking normal cliche, people from all different kinds of lives all come together, but it's true. It really is true. Like, I mean, it sounds corny as shit to say. And honestly, I've been fed up with the amount of times it's been said, but it's true.
It's fun to be interviewed on like specific podcast or like specific,
like this one.
Is it though?
Absolutely.
What are we talking about?
Talk about life, bro. Talk about life, cigars,
I thought
bourbon.
It was a cigar podcast.
Well, it's everything.
I thought
it's everything we can make it.
So
how
specifically general.
Yeah.
How many?
That's the point.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nate.
How many times do
All right, closing remarks, Nate. Go.
well, no, what I was going to say to your point, Steve, is like
I was just
how many times do we get people that are in the industry, whether cigar or whiskey industry, that come on this podcast and they do part 2, and then after the podcast ends and we're still, that person's either still in the garage or they're still with us on the feed, like they're like, yeah, this is different from.
It is different.
From
That was kind of my point. Is like, are you talking about cigars? Talking about bourbon? Are you talking about like that is very marketable. It's very specific, and what, to your point, Nate, it's what's enjoyable is about having people in the garage, having people on the panel that, to your point, Tyler, it is about life.
Yeah. It's about what we all go through.
That's why you're doing this. That's why you're doing what you're doing. That's why you're in the only reason you're in the garage now is because the Knuckle sandwich.
Not at all.
All right. Well, closing
I'm here sitting with friends talking about all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part about it. Like, and I learn something from it every time. Why do you think I come in here and like
Knuckle sandwich Habano is now available.
Why do you think I come in here?
Available. $10 at Easton.
Why do you think I come in here when you got someone that's not even in the cigar business
I
in
know.
here? Like Duncan. Like, he's not even in the cigar business, but he's got a great MLS soccer story. He's got everything. And that was awesome to hear to sit in here and hear his story. And it's just learning about stuff as a whole, let alone just cigars or bourbon. Like, yeah, sure, you're going to learn something about cigars and bourbon at the same time, but
we have an outlet.
And you're going to learn something about life too at the same time.
Yeah.
Or and even if you don't agree with it, you got to be able to respect the other people's thoughts, and you got to respect the way people see shit.
You're hearing something,
and you're hearing something different than maybe what you're used to hearing, which is very healthy.
All right, so I agree with you, and I appreciate that. That is why we do this.
Of course.
It is bigger than the cigar industry. It's bigger than the whiskey industry, and it is what happens.
That was a good
bartender. If you got some more, it's not. No, go ahead. Who wants to start? Sean, you want to say something?
Sure. Closing remarks.
There we go. Closing remarks.
Kicking stigmas.
Kicking.
Yeah.
I think kicking stigmas is a gratifying thing to be able to do. To be able to.
What stigmas are you kicking?
Oh shit! I thought we were doing closing argument.
No, well, no.
This is closing remark.
It is.
But
please, Sean, get personal.
I think I get a lot of in my industry in aviation. You know, people don't know who I am, and I'm a little bit older. People are just like, "Can I talk to somebody who knows what they're doing?"
That's a stigma.
And then usually the people that I transfer them to will go, "Well, you need to talk to Sean," and they can end up going back to me because I'm, they don't realize that, I've just been in the industry for a long time. And it's, I don't take it personally if it happens that way, or just in life in general. It's like, if that's how they think it is, and they think of me of a certain stigma, then it is what it is. But those opportunities where I can kick it and kind of show what I'm capable of doing and what I'm passionate about, it's kind of rewarding in a way. But I think that
it's supposed to be. Yeah.
And I think that, when you're in life, when you ever confronted with that, is just, don't get pissed and lose your shit. Just stay calm, and an opportunity is going to come where you'll be able to kick it eventually. And I think that's what it's all about, is you're going to have your time, and it's when it happens, make the best of it and show them what you can do.
I like that.
Amen.
Yeah. Tyler?
First of all, thank you for having me on the podcast for the
pleasure,
fifth time.
absolutely.
I greatly appreciate this opportunity.
What are you smoking right now?
I'm smoking a beautiful BS Gold right now, made by Placencia, I believe.
Yeah.
Fantastic cigar. Very good. I've always been a fan of these.
You're welcome.
I know.
Very good. So Nate, I was a little disappointed when Nate didn't have a silver, but I was like, all right, yeah, I can do a gold, no problem. No, I'm good. I'm good, bro. Placencia, great people over there. Shout out to my boy.
You didn't give me a cigar.
But you're still smoking that Maduro. How is that Maduro, by the way?
It is actually very enjoyable.
It's very enjoyable with the bourbon. I really enjoyed it with the Larceny. Anyways, as I digress.
I look forward to featuring that on a future podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'll be the main one we do next time. Absolutely.
Espinosa Roundtable.
The Espinosa Roundtable. Beautiful. No, it's I think when it comes to kicking stigmas, it's all about, especially in my job, it's about being a storyteller. And essentially that's my job, is to tell our story. And when it comes down to, in general, kicking stigmas, I think it's just being authentic, believe in yourself, believe in what you're doing, and it'll speak for itself. And it's, you don't have to go down the whole rabbit hole on why you think you deserve something or why you think you should be put in a position for it. Just be yourself, be authentic, and I think it will show. And man, that sounds Canadian almost when I said show. I've been hanging around too many Canadians. I hung out with a couple Canadians this weekend.
There's no accent.
Talking to boot. How you doing, eh?
Now it sounds Canadian.
Yeah.
A little bit insulting.
It might have been insulting to our Canadian friends out there watching.
What you
I
said,
apologize.
Now you're saying that.
But no, it's absolutely all fun.
I'm listening to you. I can interject as much as you want.
Of course. But just be yourself. Be authentic. Believe in what you do, and I believe it will show for itself. I mean, don't think about like what I could have done better. What your natural instinct is, it's probably what's right. And even if some people don't like it, no, fuck them at that point. That's my 2 cents. So.
I like that. Nate?
So
if someone doesn't believe in you, then it's not the right fit anyways. Go ahead, Nathaniel.
So many avenues on that one.
To bring up something that Jake Sanders had commented, I think there is a commonality between stigmas and stereotypes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times those can be synonyms for one another. As far as kicking them, I think one of the best ways to overcome a stigma about an industry or a stereotype that someone may have about certain people, I think the best way is just education. And I think one of the hardest things that other people who have stereotypes or stigmas in their mind is that education is not isolated to age. Just because someone is older or has been in a certain industry longer does not mean that someone younger with less experience knows less than that person does. Because like last week we had Ryan Newman on the podcast, and Ryan's been in the cigar industry for a while, and he's a young guy. And when you talk with him, like, he knows a lot of stuff about cigars, but like when people would first meet him at the cigar shop, like they didn't necessarily think he knew what he was talking about because he was a young person. But once he starts talking to them and sharing his knowledge and experience, then those people realize that, oh shit, that person actually does know what I'm looking for. When they ask for a recommendation and you're like, oh, I'd like this cigar. Here's the blend. Here's the flavors that I get out of it. I think it pairs well with this. Like, there's something to be said for that experience. Like one of my favorite stigmas that's in the cigar industry is, about the flavored cigars. We get a lot of people that come in like, hey, where's the girl cigars at? And I have to sit there and tell them, like, well, there's no such thing as a girl cigar.
I've seen the manliest fucking dudes smoke acid.
Yeah.
I see ex NFL players that are smoking an acid blondie. I'm like, hey, bro, that's what you like. That's what you like.
Absolutely.
I don't give a shit.
And so I sit there, and when people say that, I actually tell them, like, well, so like this. So you brought up acid. Like, that's one of the most popular brands in all of the cigar industry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that smoke them, and people are surprised when they find out, oh, by the way, more guys smoke those than ladies, because there's more male cigar smokers than there are female cigar smokers. So more guys smoke those. There's no, and I try and tell them, like, there's no such thing
Right.
as a male cigar or a female cigar. Because I've had people come in where the lady was wanting, a very full body, rich, heavy cigar. And like you said, the guy he literally said, "What's the girliest cigar you have?"
Yeah.
And I explained to him, like, there's no such thing.
People just don't know.
They don't.
But it's a stigma, right?
Exactly. The way you break that down, though, is by educating them. You have a conversation with them, and also you don't belittle them for what they like. So if someone comes in and they're like, "I really like acid cigars," cool.
Yeah.
Here's the ones that I have.
That's why they make them.
I am not going to look down on that person whatsoever because they like an acid cigar or a Deadwood or a Tatiana. Like, I don't care. You smoke what you like. I will be glad to take your money. But like I said,
sense of it. Yeah.
But like I said, I think the biggest thing is, one, educating that person to whatever it is, whatever stigma they have. Educate them if that stigma is incorrect. Educate them, but also you have to do it in a kind and respectful way, because if you're a cigar shop and let's say you have a bunch of guys, the older crowd, the stereotype guys that are hanging around in a cigar shop, and someone comes in and they want to smoke something that's different. Like, the other guys in that shop aren't, most shops, they're probably not going to sit there and talk down to that person, because when you get right down to it, that person's another cigar smoker. They're just like those other guys hanging around. They're just a cigar smoker. They have different tastes than you do, but they're still a cigar smoker. There's a community about that. We don't break the cigar community down to, okay, if you're in the shop, like, if you want to smoke flavored cigars, you got to go to that side lounge. You want to smoke other cigars, you got to go to this side. No, we're all part of the same community.
Right. Yeah.
But you have to do it in a respectful way to where that person feels invited in that community. So even if they have that stigma, even if they don't enjoy the same thing everyone else does, they at least still feel welcomed to come back and hang out.
Right. You mind if I answer a question for Mr. Sanders real quick?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So
already in trouble.
Jake,
so go ahead.
Jake asked a great question, and just to answer it for him, he asked, Tyler, when did you fall in love with cigars in the community? What was your moment you said to yourself that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life? It probably came when I was about halfway through my Air Force contract, and I wasn't even working at a shop at that point. I never went to a trade show at that point.
Sure.
It was a moment where I looked around the room and I saw a bunch of people that I would never have met before that I respected and I just became great friends with at the end of the day. And I'm like, I would love to do this on a larger scale.
Yeah.
And actually at that point, it was probably when I started branching out to other shops like the Tinderbox of East and other shops in the Dayton area, Cincinnati. I started going up to Detroit to a good friend of mine's shop up there to go to events, and I would order cigars from him, and everything, all that combined was when I was at that point was pretty much just, I was in heaven thinking about the opportunity that this could be, and meeting people like my boy Jonathan Herring, who just joined us. He was a little late.
Big support of the podcast.
Big support of the podcast, all the way
Bourbon
down from
BS
Texas.
Podcast page.
And I will say, honestly, meeting him and other of my current peers in the business at the time, they were reps in the area that I became friends with. And just hearing their stories and hearing their time on the road and hearing all the great people that they've met and other great retailers, it intrigued me. And I'll never forget this. When I was younger, my dad, I wanted to be a Major League Baseball scout when I was a little kid, right? Yeah. I still am, but I was just infatuated with the game of baseball. And
Yeah.
my dad told me, he's like, listen, I'm not going to tell you can't do it, but I will tell you, a lot of guys, get in that side of the business by knowing the right people. And because it's, that's a lot of higher ups and stuff like that they got to deal with and get to know and stuff like that. So I really took that to heart, and it always stuck with me. And I'm like, okay, maybe whenever I figure out one day what I really, really want to do at the end of the day, because I knew very early on in my Air Force career I wasn't going to be a career guy. Just there's people that are meant to do 20 years or plus. And I just realized that I wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
And that could be a whole nother day's worth of conversation I will not get into. But I really fell in love with the cigar business. And it was people like Jonathan, people like Rob Wilson, Josh Bentley, Lee Whitaker, other retailers, people
Brian
that are
Joyce,
in the industry, Brian Joyce,
Crane.
Steve Crane,
Yeah,
Nate, all these guys,
slept
Jay.
in my house.
Yeah, I crashed on the couch a couple times. It was Richie Riot that I got to know when he was with the other company at the time as national sales manager.
People.
It was the people. It was the people that I was blessed to meet at the time, and it all made sense in my head that I was like, this is what I want to do. And it was probably when I was around 20 years old, and which is wild because now at 20 years old, you can't even be a cigar smoker.
Oh my God.
So it's kind of wild,
5
right?
years later.
Yeah. Now it's, almost 5 years into the game now, and just being a cigar enthusiast, let alone almost 2 years now being with Espinosa on this end of the business. I don't regret a fucking thing I did. I don't regret a single second that I spent in that cigar lounge meeting the people that I met or going wherever I had to go to meet people.
You put yourself out there.
And it seems like it's paying off right now. So sorry, I didn't mean to butt in there, but I just wanted to pay Jake his respect. And
It normally happens in my closure.
I didn't want Jake to give me shit for when we're at the Whiskey Myers concert tomorrow or Friday. That I didn't want him to give me shit for like, oh, he didn't answer my question. So I wanted to make sure I got that in there. So much love, Jake. Go on, Steven.
You've gone off the rails there.
Do you want me to mute his mic for the rest of your closing remarks?
Go ahead.
No, I don't.
Go ahead.
I looked up the stigma thing, and Tyler, you watched me, and you give me shit about the fact that I look up the spelling of stigma. There was a time in my life that way before I did the podcast, before I was in the cigar industry, that I thought I was doing the right thing. I was doing the next thing. I was in the moving and storage industry, and I was doing well, but I lost the focus of why I was doing it. You know what I mean? It's just for the paycheck, and I didn't always agree with it. And it was a good business. I enjoyed cigars, and I met a lot of good people in the industry. I met a lot of good people that smoke cigars, and this whole kicking stigmas thing is, I did that where if you like Nate, you really, I thought you were focused on the fact that as one that smokes cigars, what are you? Because you were like, because Jake asked that, and it was a big thing. It's like, you smoke cigars, like, who are you as a person? And it's different. In 2019, 2020, and 2021, we found out that there were a lot of people that enjoy this hobby. That was
a lot more than we thought, right?
Well, we had a cigar boom.
Yeah.
What I like about what we came out of it with is that we were more confident as a subculture of who we were. And I think a lot of people actually did that, whatever they believed in, whatever their hobby was, whatever they wanted to get out there. The people that actually wanted to enjoy life, they put more effort into it. This whole topic of kicking stigmas is like, you're talking about, like, Erik Espinosa and Guy Fieri, all that stuff. I gotta be honest, is that there's a lot of people that really enjoy that you are enjoying life by smoking a cigar. It is because you are an embodiment of who they want to be. They're stressed out. Their life, their everyday life is they can't find this moment of enjoying the time that they have. Not even the moment, the time that they have. They don't have this. They don't get to allow themselves this moment of enjoyment. And I'll say this is that kicking stigmas is I've tried not to make it political. We judge people on our first impressions. That is a fact. And I will say that kicking stigmas is that it was a celebrity endorses something that is something that you can react to. It's all about the reaction.
Yeah.
But if we get to that point that you actually you open yourself up to a cigar, a whiskey, a health product, you open yourself up to the next day, the Wednesday that we're in, and you allow yourself to get out there and really realize what works for you. You can have a stigma, you can have that celebrity, you can have all that stuff, but it all comes out back to you. And I love the fact that there are people out there that they're doing very well for themselves, and they weren't. The big key is that they realized they weren't doing well. And it might be a celebrity endorsement. It might be a podcast they listen to. It might be that neighbor, that might be the friend that at a certain point they literally just, what are they doing? They seem happy. There's no key workout. There's no key diet. There's no key career thing. There's no right answer. It's all about the fact that you just open yourself out there. And if there's a celebrity that's doing really well, like a Guy Fieri, he's got his own issues.
I'm sure.
But he's doing well.
Doing pretty good.
So buy the book. Buy the cigar.
I'll buy Heather's book. What was her name? Not Heather. What was her name?
Karen.
Karen.
Buy my book.
I will.
Or listen to your podcast.
You'll be a part. You'll write a chapter. No, but like,
I'll write the prologue. How about that?
make yourself happy. Absolutely. Like, it's the stigma, kick it. Don't get mad about it. If someone's doing better than you or they're doing well for themselves, yeah, subscribe to that magazine.
Of course.
That's all I got.
Attaboy.
Richie, you got to be on. Jonathan, come on again. Cheers.
Cheers, fellas.
I'm going to go first next time. Yeah.
Extra time.
We're still live for a second.
Say something.
Is this like European soccer where we got extra time right now.
Yeah, extra 4 minutes.
Extra 4 minutes.
right now.
It won't be on the podcast unless anyone scores.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Hashtag Espinosa every day, baby.
Steve will edit this out.
Of course not.
Not a lot.
Not on the live feed, but he will on the audio.
Beautiful.